The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Stephen A. Smith went nuts on the Jets, Aaron Glenn, and Woody Johnson. We will talk about what he said and react. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
I let the organization down, and I let the players down, and that burns me. It really does. This season's on me, and we're going to work our ass off to get this shit exactly where it needs to be.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. We are presented by FanDuel Sportsbook, a solo episode for you here on a Wednesday, show number 2 on the day. Hey, this upcoming Sunday, we have an NFL playoff watch party. Join me and John Jastrzemski from The Ringer, the New York podcast, and of course, you watch them on SNY. We'll be watching the Bills and the Jaguars game together at T-Squared Social. You could scan the QR code on the screen to RSVP or just click the link in the description. It is free. We'll have a halftime raffle featuring a bunch of signed items, including some Jets prizes. And we'll just be chilling, watching what is hopefully a good game and obviously rooting for Jacksonville to beat the Buffalo Bills. So looking forward to this. This is Sunday at 1 at T-Squared Social. Before we talk about what Stephen A. Smith had to say, where he actually is right about half of what he said in regards to the Jets, and he's dead wrong about the other half. How's that for a tease? We'll get into it. Let's start with some serious news that I want to share. One of our own is undergoing a significant surgery tomorrow. I want to shout out Danny B and his dad. Danny's a longtime listener of the show. I've met him at games before. I met him and his wife in London last year. Danny tweeted me yesterday, hey, at Jake Asman, my dad is going for open heart surgery on Thursday. We're huge Asmaniacs and tune in all the time. Would mean a lot and put him in positive spirits if he can get a shout out on one of the shows tomorrow. Appreciate it. Let's go Jets. So Danny, thanks for letting me know. And of course to your dad, best of luck with everything going on tomorrow with the procedure. And look, if the Jets haven't killed you yet, I'm telling you, you're going to be A-okay. So obviously sending a lot of love, thoughts, prayers to you and your dad, Danny, and shout out to both of you guys for supporting the show. It means a lot. And make sure you read the comments because I know the Asmaniacs are definitely going to be sending their well wishes and their thoughts and prayers ahead of this procedure tomorrow. So on that note, now we got to talk about the Jets. And we'll start with really what has become like a groundswell story. This idea that Dante Moore will not declare for the NFL draft because he doesn't want to be drafted by the Jets, right? Todd McShay was really the first to make this a thing. He said not a single player in the 2026 NFL draft wants to be a Jet. He came out and said, if he were Dante Moore's agent, I'd be calling the Raiders to see if there's any chance I'm going number 1. And if there is, I'll stay. If not, I'm going back to school, right? And I don't buy that. Obviously, the Jet reputation is terrible. Let's make that clear. If you watch the show, you know where I stand with the head coach in particular. But we're talking about an enormous amount of money that Dante Moore would be passing up if he didn't come out. And I'm just not buying it. The second Dante Moore signs his rookie deal with any team, he's getting nearly $60 million guaranteed, including a signing bonus over $30 million. That's just how it goes. So he could go back to college, and he could choose to do that. And Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, big in NIL spending, he could give Dante Moore $5, $6, maybe $7 million, but it's not going to be what he's going to get if he's the number 2 pick in the draft. And guess what? If he goes back and has a bad year or gets hurt like Drew Allard did at Penn State, who knows what happens next year when there's a lot more quarterbacks that are supposed to be able to come out and be in the NFL draft. So I don't buy this at all. I'm not saying the Jets' reputation doesn't stink, but if Dante Moore goes back to school, it's because we all say he's been a one-year starter. He needs more development. He can make good money. And he's a mature guy that took a redshirt year, essentially, to be the backup to Dylan Gabriel last year. He didn't transfer from UCLA to a different school where he knew he'd play right away. He knew he'd have to sit and learn. So he strikes me as a guy that if he does go back to school, it will be because he wants more seasoning and not because, well, he doesn't want to be a Jet. And what that argument conveniently leaves out is the fact that, okay, so he doesn't want to go to the Jets, but he wants to go to the Raiders, who have had 6 head coaches in the last 6 years, and their offensive line's the worst in the league. The Jets, for all their issues, actually have a good offensive line and a number 1 wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. So look at the draft order. He wants to go to Arizona. What do they have? What's so special about them playing in the NFC West with the 1 seed and 2 other playoff teams? That's where he wants to go. He wants to go to the Browns. Again, if you're bad like the Jets are, you have issues. If you're bad in picking in the top 6, you have issues. That's why you're picking in the top 6. That's how this works. So I say that to set the stage for this clip from Stephen A. Smith I'm about to play. So the conversation on First Take today was about, should Dante Moore stay in school to avoid being drafted by the Jets?
Say this, and I'm damn near serious about this. I'd eat something to provoke myself to have food poisoning where I'm like garbage before I'd play for the Jets. I'm telling you right now, whatever I could do to be alive and be okay in the end, but to ruin their thoughts of ever wanting me on their roster, I would do. And damn it, I'd go back to college before I play for the Jets. They are a football atrocity. They are awful. I mean, straight garbage. I am a black man.
So before we get to the Glenn comments, let's start with just focusing on Dante Moore. Again, I don't think for a second if Dante Moore goes back to school, it is because he didn't want to be a Jet. Because I got news for Dante Moore. The Jets have 3 first-round picks in 2027. You might be a Jet next year, man. I don't know what the future holds. The Jets don't get their quarterback in the draft this year. They could be doing it next year. So we don't know with a new head coach. I don't believe for a second Dante Moore going back to school would be all about the Jets. I don't. He's a 1-year starter who needs more seasoning. Now, at the end of the day, if you are the New York Jets, you have to recognize, though, this is your reputation until proven otherwise. Right? Fair or unfair? I could bring up the Raiders, but seemingly no one's talking about this with the Raiders. Maybe because they have Tom Brady, who's a part owner now. He's the golden boy of the NFL. I don't know. No one's having that conversation with them. The perception of the Jets is terrible. And what the Jets have to do is try and change that reputation. Now, you can't just do that in the offseason, but you could start to do that by hiring good assistant coaches, right? If you're Dante Moore, would you feel better if, I don't know, let's use Cliff Kingsbury, for example. He was the offensive coordinator. Would you feel better if you had more proven coaches rather than Charles London, who's a running backs coach, who's only been coaching quarterbacks for a couple of years? Like the Jets, and this is on Aaron Glenn, he has to improve the infrastructure of the team. The Jets are not equipped for a rookie quarterback right now. Look what they did with Justin Fields, who's not any good, but was never this bad. We saw no one get better on this team. Glenn preached development. We had none of that. And again, I don't agree that Dante Moore would be avoiding the Jets, and that's why he would go back to school. I don't agree with that, but that's the perception. And again, when you get answers like this from the head coach, I don't blame people, whether they're agents who are telling Connor Rogers they don't want their client to go to the Jets, whether they're family members of these prospects, whether they're other coaches who Glenn's going to try and hire. I don't blame anyone for thinking the Jets are a clown show because, unfortunately, right now, they are. And again, this was the answer from Aaron Glenn that I think every Jet fan should be alarmed.
Given your defensive background, and given the way your quarterbacks performed this year, why should people feel confident that you have the infrastructure in place to pick a quarterback and develop him properly?
You know what?
So before we hear from Mr. Accountability, the question is, for those who couldn't hear it, why should Jet fans feel confident you have the infrastructure in place to develop a rookie quarterback at the top of the draft? It's an excellent question from Rich Cimini.
That's a good question, and we're going to exhaust everything that we can to make sure that we surround
our quarterbacks now, and if we get any quarterbacks in the future, right, with the guys that's going to help them. And then again, that's a whole part of, man, making sure that we evaluate everything that's going on, make sure we have the right people here that can help the quarterback. And I'm not saying that we don't have that. That's something.
What do you mean you're not saying you don't have that? You don't have that. You just set a record of ineptitude for offense this year. Passing offense, passing yards. That, again, that's the problem with retaining this coach. That right there is what I'm referring to. If they had a proven offensive coach, if they had Mike McCarthy right now, obviously Harbaugh would be the dream. We know that's not going to happen. Even Cliff Kingsbury, Kevin Stefanski. I don't think we're having the talk about Dante Moore. Is he going to stay in school because of the Jets? And again, I don't think he's going to stay in school because of the Jets anyway, but it's not at least a narrative that's being fed. Because you feel like, okay, well, you have all these pieces and a legit coach, you can win right away. You're not that far away. The Jets were better than Jacksonville and New England a year ago. What changed with those teams? Gee, I wonder. It's all coaching. You have the O-line in place. You do. You have the offensive line in place. You have a number one receiver. You have some complementary pieces in that receiving room. You could get a number two. You got 4 picks in the first 2 rounds of the draft. You're set with resources galore. But it just feels like the New York Jets aren't truly setting whoever the quarterback might be, Moore or Mendoza, up for success. So I disagree with the premise of Stephen A's argument there, but we all have to acknowledge why the perception of the Jets is what it is. Now, this is the part of Stephen A's rant that's not getting a ton of attention because everyone's focused on the Dante Moore comments. But unfortunately, I have to agree with basically everything he's saying here when he starts talking about the head coach.
It is consistently pushing for opportunities for black coaches throughout the years. I have done that. It's gotten a lot better than it was in the past. And I'm saying it hurts me to say this, okay? Ain't no way in hell Aaron Glenn should still be the head coach of the New York Jets. They were horrible and digressed, damn near nosedive. We talk about Alabama waving the red flag. Was it red flag? White flag. White flag. White flag. Okay, white and red. Damn it. Listen, in New York is the green and white. You understand? Fireman Ed and the whole crew. I mean, the people that have passed away root for the Jets. I mean, there are people that passed away root for the Jets. They are horrible. Horrible, okay? And they are the place to go if you want to sink. If you want to dissipate, if you want to just rot away, they are horrible. I wouldn't listen, if I was a parent, my child wouldn't even go to the draft. I'm not playing. I'm not playing. You cannot. And then Woody Johnson comes in there, right? First of all, he had no business being some ambassador to the UK. But as bad as that was, he should go back. He should go back. He's called Trump and straight go back to UK. We don't want to see him in New York. He's horrible. Woody Johnson's horrible, okay? You go up there and you fire Robert Saleh, all right? You alienate Aaron Rodgers, and we get that because, damn it, Nathaniel Hackett shouldn't even been on the damn roster as an offensive coordinator. We know that, okay? Got all of that, all right? Then you go out there and you hire this man. You have the kind of year that you had. You had the kind of month you had. Aaron Glenn had 41 interceptions in his career. 6 pick sixes. And he was the defensive coordinator in Detroit. And this man's defense didn't record 1 interception the entire year. The only team in the NFL history to have done that. That's on him. We saw the Detroit Pistons. Who was the offensive coordinator? Detroit Lions. Who was the offensive coordinator? It was Ben Johnson. So really, was it because of you and that defense, or was it because of Ben Johnson and what he was doing in concert with Dan Campbell? Okay, it was your ass. It was you. The bottom line is this. I don't wish him. I want the man to have a job. I want him to be employed, just not as a head coach for the New York Jets. The fact that you said with a straight face after this season, we going to keep this man as a coach, shows me that Woody Johnson don't know what the hell he's doing. I'm not letting my child. If he was my brother, I wouldn't let him. If he was my nephew, I wouldn't let him. I don't give a damn what it is. If you got to poison his food, if you got to do something to prevent him from being a New York Jet, you do it. Guy.
Again, the Dante Moore stuff, I think, is silly because the Raiders are a mess. The Cardinals are a mess. The Browns are a mess. The Jets actually have some things a young quarterback would benefit from. But everything he says about Glenn there, he's right. And that's what sucks. I'd love to get on here and criticize Stephen A and say he's unfair. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And I have in the past. But he's right when he's talking about Aaron Glenn. He should be fired. We all know this. This was the most obvious one and done we've seen in a long time, and Woody Johnson didn't do it. And now you look at the amount of qualified coaches that are on the market, and the Jets are not going to sink their teeth into it. It's organization malpractice. It is entirely unfair to this great fan base because that's how bad this season was. They started 0-7. He looked inept. He didn't know how long the game-winning field goal was in London. He didn't know the yardage. He said the last 4 minutes of each half belonged to the head coach. The Jets were an abomination. They went 0-6 against the AFC East. They got outscored by an average of 20 points per game in division matchups this year. It's the worst point differential since division realignment. It's them and the Rams of 2009 who were 1-15. He's bad at hiring a coaching staff. He's bad at developing a quarterback. He's bad at deploying schemes. We have no idea what schemes the Jets even run. He's not involved. He said they're running the Wilkes defense. He's bad at player development despite preaching a team that would be built on player development.
Coaching. It's coaching. What do you mean? Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
Again, if Aaron Glenn turns out to be a good head coach, it would be a historic outlier. He's now one of 29 first-time head coaches since 2001 that had won 4 or fewer games in their debut season. And only 2 of them of 29 ever won a playoff game. One of them is Zach Taylor, who has Joe Burrow. Again, Stephen A is wrong for saying that Dante Moore wouldn't come out because he could be a Jet. That's ridiculous. You get a chance to make $60 million guaranteed, you're going to come out. All right, and great players like Moore, Mendoza, they'll have the mentality that they're here to change things. And it's also ridiculous because the Raiders are a joke too, as are the other bad teams. But the problem is the Jet perception is as bad as it's ever been. And because they're keeping this head coach, when all the signs are there that this is a ridiculous premise to keep this guy, I can't really push back that much on a lot of what he's saying there. That's what sucks. They are a joke if they keep this coach. Woody's ridiculous for keeping this coach. And again, it shouldn't be about race, but Stephen A is even telling you in that clip that he's always advocating for black coaching candidates to get opportunities. And he's saying, I can't even defend him. It's so bad. And that should have nothing to do with evaluating whether or not a guy is a good head coach. Barney could coach the Jets for all I care. I don't care. I just want someone that's not in over their head. And Aaron Glenn is as in over his head as any coach I've ever seen. And I covered David Culley in Houston. I was on the radio every day. If you think I was critical of Aaron Glenn. And Glenn's just as bad. That's why I cannot believe we're here. Now, I do want to shout out one guy on the Jets who I think we all love. At least Garrett Wilson gives a damn. Appreciate Garrett Wilson at least going on social media and pushing back. Garrett tweeted in response to that clip of those comments from Stephen A. Damn, you got to be a real sellout and above all a square to be on ESPN nowadays. Used to love that show. Like, I love that Garrett cares. I just hate that it feels like we're about to waste another year of this kid. Again, hopefully Garrett Wilson's on the Mike Evans career path and eventually his loyalty to this organization that doesn't deserve it gets rewarded. I mean, Garrett's the man. This is what you want. But it's just tough to sit here and be like, oh, Stephen A's ridiculous. It's like, he's not, man. Aaron Glenn should have been fired. He's wrong about the Dante Moore stuff. Dante Moore, if he stays in school, it's not going to be because, oh, he didn't want to be a Jet. I don't believe that. But the whole part of talking about Glenn and Woody keeping him and how big of a joke that is, that's spot on. That's spot on. That's unfortunate. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Let's give away a Jets jersey on the show today. You pick the player, legend Jets only, or if you want Garrett Wilson after what he did, we can make that happen for you. Namath, Klecko, Martin, Krebet, Revis, Mangold, Keyshawn. You pick the player, and we send it to you. You got to be in the raffle if you want a chance to win. So gift a membership or send in a $10 super chat or higher to qualify. The weekly prizes this week include a framed Super Bowl III ticket display, a signed Broadway Joe Namath helmet, and a replica Joe Namath championship ring. Comments, questions, your super chats, as you guys know around here, cut the line. We need plenty of calls today. It is a solo show. I mentioned we're presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Here are the latest odds from FanDuel on who will be the number one pick in the draft. The favorite is Fernando Mendoza, minus 450. I'm just going to say this right now. I think there's great value on betting plus 430 on Moore to go number one overall. A lot of scouts, a lot of GMs, they will like the upside of Moore. I even texted a few of the contacts I have, and they have repeated something that even Joe Blewett has said on the show. Like the gap between Mendoza and Moore, if there is a gap, is not much. I know Robbie Sabo, who I really respect, has Moore ahead of Mendoza, for example. So again, I think there's value here on Dante Moore to be number one overall. And then that'd be great. The Jets would end up with Mendoza, and I think he's, to me, the safer pick for the Jets given the amount of starts he's played, his pedigree, his size. I'd love that. So I actually love the value here. If you place it now, because these odds are going to change a lot, I am a big fan of Dante Moore plus 430 to go number one overall on FanDuel Sportsbook. Shout out to FanDuel. They are, of course, the official sports betting partner of the Jake Asman Show. We're going to get to your calls coming up. A few super chats. This one's from Hex. John Harbaugh, blocked field goals 10. Aaron Glenn, blocked field goal 0. Don't let go of the rope.
Just don't let go of the rope.
I don't even know if that's true, Hexen, but I'll take your word for it. Mike Perez in the raffle for 2. Jets are the butt of all jokes, but Cardinals, Raiders, Titans, Browns are the premier teams to go to. Why is this always a thing? Nobody said this about Cam heading to the Titans. I just think the Jets have been so bad, and they play in New York. There's the LOL Jets narrative that's out there. Knicks fans remember this well. LOL Knicks. Met fans go through this with the LOL Mets. Certain teams, they get magnified. A lot of former Jets are in TV. So the Jets probably get a disproportionate amount of coverage and discussion on these national shows than they probably should. Right? Get Up did part of their segments on the Jets on Monday. Why are they doing anything on the Jets who just finished a 3-14 season? Why they even mention the Jets? Oh, because Damian Woody, Mike Greenberg, and Rex Ryan are on the same panel. So I think that's part of the reason a lot of people hate the Jets. You know, it's a big market team. Again, the idea Dante Moore staying in school because of the Jets, I think, is nonsense. And I think anyone advising him to do that, if it's just about that, is giving him terrible advice. Go back to college for $7 million or make $60 million guaranteed and get a $30 million signing bonus when you sign on the dotted line. I don't know. But if he goes back to school, it's going to be because he's, you know, a different dude and he wants to play more. Maybe Oregon comes up short in the national title game and he really wants to go back. I don't know. But I don't think it's going to be about the Jets in particular. Because, again, the Raiders are that much better, really, in the AFC West? I'm not buying it. Boogie Down Bronx says, I don't get to thinking on him picking the Raiders over the Jets. He's getting horrible advice and leaving generational money. Make it make sense. I think he declares. I've been on this the whole time. Now, I won't lie. I'm a little less confident than I once was because I just think Aaron Glenn is so bad that I do worry a little bit more than I initially did, Boogie Down. But I think he's going to come out. I just hope the 1 year he has with the Jets, he shows enough to make the job attractive for another head coach next year in 2027. Like what Cam Ward was able to do with Tennessee after they fired Callahan. Like what Dart was able to do after they fired Dable. Like there's still, you know, an upside. You feel like you could make that job attractive because you got the quarterback in place. Mark writes in with a super chat here. He's in our raffle for 2. Thank you, Mark. Do you think Simpson declared because his camp heard Moore's leaning towards going back to school, raising his draft stock? No, I believe Simpson was always going to declare because Alabama's got a 5-star behind him. And I think Simpson looks at the quarterback landscape and realizes if he goes back to school, where is he going to be picked next year? If he comes out now, he's either QB2 or QB3. So he's going to go in the first round. Someone will take Simpson. I think Dom C made a great point about where Simpson will go. The Rams have 2 first-round picks. They'll take him. They'll sit him for 2 years behind Stafford. Then he'll come in and be ready to play for McVay, and we'll be saying, oh, my God, how did we let this happen? Like, that to me would make some sense. I think Simpson's going to go in the first round. I saw another report that the Simpson family reached out to a bunch of NFL GMs, and they all had first-round grades on them. Again, people like Simpson a lot in NFL circles. I keep telling you guys this on the show. Dom C has said that. Joe Blewett has confirmed that with the film. He goes, I think Simpson is just as good as Moore and Mendoza. So he's going to go in the first round. Do I think the Jets would take him at 2? I don't see that. But could I see the Jets taking him with the Indy pick, or maybe they trade back into the first round to take him? Yeah, I do. Peter Castro says, Raiders already offered the Indy coach a job to come work with Mendoza. But people are speculating on that. We have no idea if that's true. And if I'm Kirk Cignetti, I wouldn't leave to go to the NFL. I think what he's doing at Indiana, he's just scratching the surface of what he could do as a coach. He hasn't even had like the 5-star players yet. Now everyone's going to want to go and play for him. I'm not buying it. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Again, I want to thank all of you for being locked into the show. GMB Jeff says, Jake, bro, can I get my emojis back? You got to be a channel member, GMB. So someone either needs to gift you a membership, or you could hit the join button and sign up the old-fashioned way and earn yourself a raffle ticket for a Jets jersey at the end of the show. Ted Investigates writes in, Aaron Glenn in the house, worst coach in the history of football. There isn't anyone that would coach a team with 0 interceptions. Winning the Powerball is equivalent. It really is hard to believe. Look, I know they didn't have an interception this year, but they also didn't have a field goal block this year. So you got to think about it like that. No interceptions, but also no kicks blocked. What really matters here? Ralphie checks in. Smart move by Simpson. Look how many teams need a quarterback, and even at QB3, he'll go top 25. Dad's a D1 coach. He knows NFL scouts. Of course. And again, I read a story today that every GM they spoke to said they have a first-round grade on him. He goes in round 1. His floor is probably where Tyler Shuck was picked by the Saints last year, wherever that was. Let's look like second-round pick type of guy. Let's see what overall selection Shuck was. Because he's a good player. Why can't I? He was the 40th pick. So early second round. Like, I think that's probably his floor. Right? His ceiling is honestly, his ceiling is the top 5. It is, because we know teams could fall in love with quarterbacks in the pre-draft process. We know that. Like, look where Daniel Jones was picked. All right. Baker Mayfield was not thought to be the first overall pick going into the offseason. He wasn't. So he could go a lot higher than we think. I think he's probably going to go in the teens somewhere, if I had to guess right now. Henny with a super chat. Your son has a chance to be drafted 2nd overall, and you're telling him to go back to school. Yeah, okay. And remember when Shador refused to talk to teams. But here's the thing. It's different with Shador versus Dante Moore, because Dante Moore would have to declare for the draft before he would ever even talk to teams. He can't declare for the draft and then go back to school. Once you declare, that's it. Like, he can't say, I'm going to the draft, and then, just kidding. So it's a different situation. And Shador was silly by tanking interviews. That's why he fell where he did. It wasn't because of talent. We could debate how good he is, but there's no way he should have been behind Dylan Gabriel, for example. Should have fell to the 5th round. Kyle Bruckner with a super chat. Thank you, Kyle. This is going to sound a bit morbid, but the only reason the Jets won that first game against the Bengals was because Mangold passed away the day before and it lit a fire under their ass that Glenn couldn't. I won't go there, but I will say when we look back on the Jet wins, we really have to just be honest with ourselves on what we actually watched. If they didn't have an elite special teams unit, they finished with 1 win. They do. They don't win 2 of their 3 games without their special teams unit. In particular, the Cleveland Browns win. I'll give you a damning stat. The Jets won the Browns game with 2 special team touchdowns. There have only been 4 games in the history of the NFL that a team won by 7 points or less and scored 2 or more special team touchdowns. So the fact that the Jets barely won the Browns game tells you it's a bit fluky. They have an elite special teams unit, but you can't rely on that. They won 27-20. They won by 7, and they scored 14 points off a kickoff return and a punt return in the opening quarter of the game. So we just got to be honest with ourselves. The Jets were a horrific football team. This was not a 3-win team. This was truly a 1-win team. They had the 3rd worst DVOA since DVOA was starting to be tracked. Again, the Nadia tweet here has all the numbers here, so everyone can see it on the screen. 05 Niners, number 1. 91 Colts, 2. Jets of 2025, 3. 08 Lions, you didn't win a game, by the way, 4. Like, that is damning. And again, the biggest thing that people need to still tell me is, since we're bringing this coach back, I am once again asking what Aaron Glenn does well as a head coach. Because no one can actually answer the question. And it's embarrassing. So while Stephen A is wrong about the Dante Moore stuff, he is 1,000% accurate when he says Aaron Glenn should be fired. Because any credible organization, especially with the amount of qualified coaches that are available on the market, would fire Aaron Glenn in 2 seconds. But instead, we have an owner who famously said this.
Thinking is overrated.
And thus Aaron Glenn remains employed.
And I know it's hard to say. Just trust me, have faith in what we're doing.
Trust me, bro. Trust me. David Atkins checks in. Looking forward to the Asmaniac 2026 draft party in New York City, spring 2026. I'm in, Jake. Well, David, I haven't announced any draft party yet. But let's just say there's a strong possibility of one coming in the spring of 2026. I appreciate your support, my man. Got you in the raffle for 5. Last year's draft party was a blast. This year's could be even crazier. 2 picks. The only request I have from the sporting gods, really Adam Silver and the NBA, can we please schedule a Knicks playoff series that has an off day the night of the first round of the draft? It was very stressful last year trying to watch the Knicks and the Jets in the draft while doing the party last year. That's all I'm asking for. And by the way, speaking of non-Jet related items, let's go Islanders. A 9 spot last night against the Devils. They scored more than the Jets did in several games this year. Unreal. Dan writes in, I bet we'll play the Raiders on Thursday Night Football next season. Battle of the 1st and 2nd overall picks at QB, and we'll lose that game like we did against Cleveland in 2018. Damn, Dan, why so negative, man? I don't know. The schedule next year is a bear. There's no doubt about it. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to some of your outstanding calls right now on the show. Let's start it off with a man who needs no introduction, but we have one for him anyway.
If Mad Max ain't yapping about Jets, that boy, he's jamming. He's slamming, freaking dancing, wall smashing. I'm Jake Asman. If Mad Max ain't ever stopped yapping, that boy, he still be dancing. Then call Jake Asman. He got an orange wall.
Honestly, Jake, can you guys hear me?
Dildos.
Oh, man, John Harbaugh's fired. You know what? New York Jets, Woody Johnson, if you're listening right now, please, to the love of God, fire Aaron Glenn and then hire John Harbaugh right away, honestly. Give him whatever contract interview him, and then don't let him leave the building. Give John Harbaugh whatever contract he can, whatever he wants. You know, if he wants to fire Dante Moore, you fire him. You get John Harbaugh in the building. Give him. You can pay all of it's worth. Give him the highest pay contract. You know, John Harbaugh's going to turn on the Jets. You know, he's going to stabilize just like what the Knicks did with Thibodeau. You know, I want the Jets to get John Harbaugh, but let's see if Woody Johnson even will listen. But if Woody Johnson, if you're listening, please fire Aaron Glenn and hire John Harbaugh in 5 seconds. Honestly,
What if Harbaugh doesn't want the job?
oh man, then we'll interview Kevin Stefanski, and then we'll interview Mike McCarthy, any proven head coach. I don't want this bum ass Aaron Glenn to coach our team. When we had a defense that had 0 interceptions the entire season, that's total levels of ineptitude from this defense. Honestly, I don't want Aaron Glenn to coach. I want to let him be CEO of anything. I wouldn't let him be the CEO of Mr. Bonesy's shoe store. I wouldn't even let him be CEO of other real Chuck Wagons cooking. Honestly, Aaron Glenn's the most clueless head coach I've ever seen. And you know what, Daramushi? Actually have some balls and fire him. Maybe get John Harbaugh in the building, and then you'll actually be more competitive. Because honestly, Daramushi, you're not going to be competitive with Aaron Glenn as your coach. I'm sorry to say that.
Max, how's your dad Adam doing?
It's not that name's not Adam Gase, honestly, but he's not. I don't even know how Adam Gase is doing. He's terrible.
What do you mean? Adam Gase is your father.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. Don't lie to me, Mad Max.
I'm not lying to you. Come on, Jim.
You're lying to me, Mad Max. I don't like liars. I don't like liars.
And Jet fans are clueless. I mean, they're dopes. They don't know anything. This is a really good hire. Gase is a great coach. Gase is a great coach. Okay, Adam Gase is Kyle Shanahan before Kyle Shanahan. Gase is a great coach.
Oh man, Adam Gase is doing good. He's probably coaching high school football right now, honestly. But
what do you guys' opinion on me doing a backflip through this orange wall?
Thank you, Mad Max. Appreciate your call. More of your calls right now. Let's say hello to Jets Jesus, who's up next on the line. Hello, Mr. Jesus.
Hey, Jake. Been enjoying listening to a lot of your comment. Thanks for the like on X. I thought of you immediately when I saw Garrett Wilson's response, and I was like, Garrett Wilson need to be getting his news from a different place.
Well, you know what? He's probably not going to like how negative I am, but I just try to be honest.
Cool. Thanks for the segue. So I was thinking back to before everything really got going, and your prediction was around 4 wins.
Yep.
And then we got AG coming in and talking all his talk and all of that kind of stuff, and the bravado that I think he thought was going to carry him into success. And well, now all of that is gone, and we got 3 wins instead of your 4 predictions. So I think you were spot on, and it's nice seeing you slip back into your accurate assessment. And don't get me wrong, I got caught up in the AG stuff too. So I can agree with you now. Sorry. Yeah, it's refreshing. It's refreshing to see. I think that it's, the Jets fans are dropping their season tickets, and that's what needs to be done, because we shouldn't tolerate what is being done with this team.
I agree. I think it's well said. We got to be honest with ourselves. We all want the Jets to do well. Anyone who's critical of Aaron Glenn, like I am, we all want him to prove us wrong and be successful. But we have to acknowledge what we just went through was one of the worst seasons of all time. And the idea that you now want to move forward with him and let him pick a quarterback when he was this incredibly wrong with Fields and everything that happened on his side of the ball, on top of everything that he said he'd be about, and the opposite happened, and then tried to use the fact that he's a first-year coach as an excuse for all the mistakes he made when he came in peacocking and crapping all over Robert Saleh and company. I'm just not buying it. And I just hope we don't ruin whoever we pick at number 2. That's my big fear.
Yep. And for Jets fans, they're just stacking different types of misery upon us. And, it's gotten to be so much. Now, I will go a little willpaw on this one. And I will say that I like that AG is taking accountability for it. And he looked like, he pooped his pants and was ready to cry in that press conference. I like that Darren Muji basically ran that press conference and took over it. He wasn't looking like Glenn's sidekick in that. He was looking like the guy that ran the show. So that
I did notice that too. I watched it again yesterday because some people were saying that. I don't know. Maybe we're reading too much into it. I did get the sense that Muji has more swing now, more sway than he initially did. I wonder if like this year we're so bad for AG that Muji's trades were getting praised, he extracted value, and like maybe it's no longer he's the sidekick. It's more of like they both report to the owner type of thing. I don't know.
That would be great. But I just liked seeing that, he had some sway and he didn't look like the side, it didn't look like the sidekick. And it sounded like how he was talking with the decisions that were being made. It wasn't like, oh, AG talks first and Muji's talking second. It sounded like at least they were on equal playing field. If not, Muji leads on some things as I think the GM should. So that was good to me. But to go, like I was saying, like to go kind of willpower on it. Getting humbled and that type of stuff is what would be needed if AG is going. And I mean, he's most likely going to be the coach. I'd rather have, I'm kind of with you on the same kind of coaching names that we were saying before AG got hired. Cliff Kingsbury was pretty much top of my list, especially with the offense. And, being humbled like that for Glenn and talking the way that he's talking and having to backpedal to, in the preseason, we were saying, all right, it's possible that this falls on its face. Justin Fields doesn't work out, and we got to go the way that a lot of us thought what needed to be done with the team was going to be done with the team. And now we're kind of seeing that in a little bit of a different way. So it was a little bit of an easier landing for me, no pun intended, on that happening, mid-season, because it was obvious once we were 0-7.
Well said. Well said. Again, they have so many things they have to find a way to improve. And what's crazy is I think a lot of it we get to kind of learn in the next couple of weeks here, like what coaches are being brought in. If he can't get some qualified coaches, kind of shows you what his standing is around the league, or maybe he just doesn't have the context to actually hire good coaches, which is a fear of mine too. So it's a concern, man. It is. I just hope that, Muji's good enough at his job where they get the quarterback pick right. And even if it's a disaster around the quarterback, a la the Giants with Dart this year, like the quarterback does enough for someone in 2027 to take the job and fix them.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm really, I know you've brought it up a whole bunch, but I'm hoping they change the quarterback's coach. It seems like they would. The plan that we predicted for them to have and that we kind of saw in the preseason in the first game that somehow got washed away and never to appear from him again, right? I think it took the whole season for Beck to get a touchdown, and we thought he'd be getting, he'd be piling them up when we were looking at how they were running things in the preseason. So, that plan changed, and definitely with a different quarterback in there, hopefully, hopefully they match that with the plan, and Engstrom's able to, really be able to conceive a new or maybe a variation of the same offense that wasn't run, depending on who gets brought in. I was really happy when I was listening to your first show today and Ty Simpson declared. I think that's a really big deal for us. And, with Blewett and a few other people that I've heard do some analysis of his play, I think he could be a really good fit if he's who we end up getting. I wouldn't mind if that's who we take it to, or we end up trading back and acquiring another pick or two and getting him. I just would hope that we don't risk it and trade back too far.
I love it. Great call, Jet Jesus. Again, no matter how you feel about Ty Simpson, the best news is that he's coming out, because you want optionality, and you want the same thing with Dante Moore. You want options. That's the bottom line. Let's get to more of your calls coming up. I appreciate all of you who are doing their thing, supporting the show, like Jay Perez, who's in the raffle for one, like Derek the Jet fan, who is in the raffle for one. Give him a hug, Woody.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out Tom Roseman, who's in the raffle for one. Again, Woody, I need you.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
You are in as well, Tom. Thank you very much for your support. We will get into more of your outstanding calls right now. Let's say hello to Peter, who is next on the program. Hello, Peter.
Hey, Jay. Good to see you. A first time calling in. Love the show.
Where are you calling us from, Peter? I recognize the accent.
Oh, yeah. Australia. I'm in Queensland. Australia.
No way. So we got to add Peter to the list of our Australia as Maniac Coalition. Love it.
Absolutely, man. Speaking about Aaron Glenn and trusting in him, I think the hard thing is he said he expects us fans to trust him. And that expectation is difficult for me as someone who has to get up at 3 a.m. on a Monday morning to catch most games. I'm happy to watch a game. I think it's going to be competitive or fun. But the product that's been put out this year has been appalling. It's very hard to justify getting up so early to sit there and watch like.
Did you get up every week still? Were you getting up?
No, to the end of the year. It was impossible, man, because like I don't want to watch one touchdown in garbage time, getting up at 3 on a Monday morning every week. It's just tough. It's a tough sell. There wasn't much to be excited about. So I think for me, next year, whether we're taking the rookie quarterback and being aggressive there, whether we're looking at the year after and a veteran bridge, I think really what we have to do is put a respectable or exciting or fun product out there for people to get around and enjoy. Like, I love the community. I love the other Jets fans. That's why I love this team. But it's really difficult at the moment, I think, trying to watch and get excited about things. What is there to be excited about at the moment? It's really tough.
It's tough, Peter. Now, let's talk about your Jet fandom origin, though, because how does someone in Australia choose the Jets of all teams?
So, I was doing bar work, I think, back in 2014, and I met someone from Long Island. We were just chatting, and she was like, you should come visit sometime. Like, we'll do Thanksgiving or something. Like, I've always wanted to be in the US for Thanksgiving. So I actually ended up flying out to visit, stayed on Long Island. And that, like, obviously lots of Jet fans in Long Island. So
no way.
That was great. And I was like, this is awesome. And then 2015 went to see a game. So that's that, that Fitz year where it was like quite good, unlucky not to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, this team looks like it's up and coming. Maybe we'll be really good in the year or two. And so I kind of got tricked a little bit there. But, I love the fans. That's what I mean, man. It's an awesome fan base. Everyone gets excited every year, no matter what. But I think seeing like this year going into next season, normally people are a bit more excited, but it is really tough. Like, it's hard. Like you say, what does Aaron Glenn do well? You can't point to anything that he does well because he doesn't do anything well. It is difficult. Even he can't give you a reason except for like, not having field goal attempts blocked or whatever. So like that's about it. That's what he's.
You don't appreciate that in Australia. You guys love the kicks down under.
Yeah, at least it would be like exciting if one got blocked. I guess it's just normal kicking field goals. You know? Nick's awesome, but it is tough. I'm trying to look like if you had to give me something to be excited about, your number one thing to be excited about next year, like what would your things to look at be? I don't know.
Just the resources they have, right? Like there is a chance they just like get the quarterback so correct that they just dummy proof it. Where that I don't know how good of a head coach Zach Taylor is. Joe Burrow's unbelievable. So like he can mask a lot of that. So like if you get the quarterback right, there is hope. And then, in 2027, they have even more resources to maybe add a coach to it. I hate being that negative. Like, we just got to wait a year to get a real coach. But again, there'll be a time when the Jets don't suck one day. We've been waiting a while, but it could turn. I'm not going to be the doom and gloom forever guy. I don't see it with this head coach. So hopefully he proves us wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And as long as it's something that's fun to watch, like there were some games during the Zach Wilson era, like that the Chiefs game where Sauce got robbed of that, like obviously fair interception.
Yep.
Like that was a fun game to watch. That's all I want is just to have fun watching a game of Jets football, and it's been tough this year.
Yeah, Peter, great call, man. You got to call more often. I know the time difference is tough, but between you, we got Craig in Australia. We have a couple of listeners down under, so we got to get more calls from your country because it's always awesome, man. That's very cool. How long you've been watching the show? You said
probably since the second Zach Wilson year is when I started watching the show.
Wow. Okay, so you've been around a while, man. I appreciate your support.
No, it's awesome, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You're amazing, and keep it up. I know it's hard times, but you're doing awesome.
I appreciate it. We got Peter in the raffle for 2 as well for being a first-time caller. We're gonna give away a Jets jersey. We'll ship to Australia if we have to at the end of today's show. Ant Banks says, put me in the raffle. Ant, I got you. You are in the raffle for 2. Let's see. David Atkins gifted another membership. Thank you, David, as did Omar Ochoa. It was good to hear from you, Omar. Appreciate you. We have this one from Matt L. Shout out to Matt L. in the raffle for 1. I think we're caught up on raffle entries. Here's a super chat from Mike. He is in the raffle for 2 with this. We have the greatest fans. Imagine if we were an actual winning team or hired Harbaugh. Sea of green and white like the 2023 opener. God, that day made me so proud to be a Jet fan. It was the best environment for any sporting event I've ever been in. Even after the Rodgers injury, the crowd was unbelievable. It was a Super Bowl atmosphere. And just to think That was 2 seasons ago, and here we are. Because we got to watch Aaron Rodgers win a division. They're playing the playoffs. That was supposed to be us. It kills me. John says, Jake, do you sleep, bro? 2 to 3 shows a day and then a BJF live stream last night. No, I don't sleep. There's your answer. Appreciate you, John. Thanks for being tuned in. Terry writes in, Jake, are you even a Jet fan? Your hate on Glenn is an absolute travesty. Glenn knows how to inspire his team, keep morale high, and players focused even after tough losses. Terry, let me ask you a question. Are you dumb or stupid? Let me know in the chat. You asked me a question. Am I even a Jet fan? I respond with a simple question to you. Are you dumb or stupid? And you know what? I actually have an even better question. What does Aaron Glenn do well as a head coach? Problem is, you gave an answer that's a crock of shit. Excuse my language. So you're no longer a reliable commenter. Goodbye.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Morale's never been higher for the New York Jets. No doubt. If you want some morale, all right, I'll give you a guy who will raise the morale. He's probably the nicest guy that regularly calls into this program.
I got my Iron Muji. I hope you like my Jets take. You know they call me David T. It's not easy for me to see, but if you bring me full stream, you might like what I had to say. I'll need to get real damn close, cause my vision is dog shit.
Hey, Jake, good timing. You know what? I'm ready to turn the page. Love the Man Max calls. Can you hear me, Jake? But anyway, and the last couple of weeks, you know, before Black Monday and all that kind of stuff, you know, I was right with you, hammering, you know, Aaron Glenn hasn't earned the right for another season. You know, like I said, I was right with you, and you know, you're very fair to other people. You know. So anyway, my thing right now is with the quarterback. I know that they had said that maybe with the idea that Glenn's going to get fired next year to take a quarterback in the second round. But I'm feeling, you know, one of the 3 quarterbacks they should take this year and let the chips fall where they may.
Is there a guy you like best, David?
I like all of them. I mean, I listened to your, you know, Joe Blewett and the analyzation of the quarterbacks and the Asmaniacs and everything, and everyone has strengths and weaknesses. So that, you know, those 3, I actually like all of them. And you know, a la Zach Wilson, you know, you don't know. So I'd be happy with any one of the 3, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you what, David. From your lips to God's ears.
I got my eye on you. Checkmate me full screen. It's fireball whiskey time. David motherfucking T.
I just got this tweet sent to me. So we opened the show sending our well wishes to Danny B's father. They're both Asmaniacs. Danny's someone that I interact with on Twitter all the time. Great listener of the show. Met his dad, of course, in the photo there at a Jet game last year. And this was just sent to me. They're watching the show live, and Danny had video of his dad. This is what it's all about, everyone. Start with some serious news that I want to share. One of our own is undergoing a significant surgery tomorrow. I want to shout out Danny B and his dad. Danny's a longtime listener of the show. I've met him at games before. I met him and his wife in London last year. Danny tweeted me yesterday, hey, at Jake Asman, my dad is going for open heart surgery on Thursday. We're huge Asmaniacs and tune in all the time. Would mean a lot and put him in positive spirits if he can get a shout out on one of the shows tomorrow. Appreciate it. Let's go Jets. So, Danny, thanks for letting me know. And of course, to your dad, best of luck with everything going on tomorrow with the procedure. And look, if the Jets haven't killed you yet, I'm telling you, you're going to be A-okay. So obviously, sending a lot of love, thoughts, prayers to you and your dad, Danny, and shout out to both of you guys for supporting the show. It means a lot. And make sure you read the comments, because I know the Asmaniacs are definitely going to be sending their well wishes and their thoughts and prayers ahead of this procedure tomorrow.
That's crazy.
So, on that note, now we got to talk about the Jets. And we'll start with really what has become like a ground story. Oh, man. It's going to make me tear up, man. Good luck to your dad, Danny. You got to tell me what his name is. I just keep calling him your dad. Mr. Bloom? Whatever the case may be, we're all thinking about you, and you're going to crush this surgery. Again, heart surgery is nothing if you're a Jet fan, all right? Come on. You've been through way worse than heart surgery if you root for this football team. There's no doubt. Hey, huge shout out to Anthony Logerato. Give him a hug, Woody.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
He's in the Asmaniac Raffle at the end of the show for 5. Justin for Ocho. Talk my Gilbert Gonzalez, Regular Guy TV, Pete York, and Albert Gonzalez, all receiving a channel membership from Anthony. Let's get to more of your calls right now on the show. Keep them coming, people. This is a solo episode, so more time to vent about the state of our football team. Hit it.
Well, he's home sitting in a chair, 'cause his back hurts. On the road, he's sitting in a chair, in an upgraded hotel room. Because the show his ass is in a chair. His wife thinks he's weird. He got a beard. He loves the Jets, the SuperChats. Well, the big fella, he's all alone, in a room, on a chair. That's a big fella.
What's up, man? How's it going?
The big fella. What's up, bro?
Danny, this team's ripped my heart out for 40 years, bro. You got this, man. You totally got this. We're all behind you, brother. Prayers up to you, and keep us updated, because we look forward to hearing from you, brother. Now, Woody Johnson has me fucked up today, bro. He really does. Him and Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, who the hell is Stephen A. Smith to tell Dante Moore, don't come to the NFL? Honestly. Oh, I'm Stephen A. Smith. I'm going to yell into the microphone, sound like a jackass, and tell a kid who I don't even know, you shouldn't play for this football team. If he's good, he'll play for the football team and they'll win. Screw him. Let him stick to basketball. Now, Woody Johnson, this guy, I don't even think he's a Jet fan, to be honest. I think he bought the Jets as an investment, okay, which he did very well on, and now he just doesn't give a shit anymore. He doesn't do anything for the season ticket holders. All right, they get nothing. He took away the flight crew, for Christ's sake. You know, I mean, it's like, what does he give us? I mean, he's in the same boat as Glenn. Glenn doesn't do shit, and neither does he. All he does is raise ticket prices, parking $70 a car. Are you insane for a team that's 3-14? And then you have the audacity, I'm going to raise ticket prices too. I mean, it's like, what is that? I mean, he really has me messed up today. I don't think he's worked a day in his life. He's a nepo billionaire who hasn't had a tough day ever. Silver spoon little bitch. And he should not be our owner. He should not be the owner of our football team. If you don't give a shit about the team, then quit and sell it to somebody. Enough is enough. I'm sick of it. You know, we have John Harbaugh out there. He's a coach that I never want to give up picks or anything like that. I would give up that second pick in the first round for him. Well, you don't have to anymore, but I would. That's how good he is. We can hit a reset with John Harbaugh. what pisses me off is that we're not even the news about, the Jets have tested the waters a little bit. We have to stick with a guy who I used to love as a player, who put in one of the worst seasons as a head coach as I've ever seen. We have to put up with trust me, bro. Trust these nuts. And Woody, you can hug these nuts because it's bullshit.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
So you
can
would
hug
want
him every day.
So
You
you
can
give
hug these nuts every day.
express verbal consent for Woody to hug your nuts, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Woody, I don't give it out to everybody, but he can hug these nuts every day.
Yeah, I mean, the trust me, bro approach, I think, is one that is not going to ultimately get total buy-in from this fan base, unfortunately, for the head coach.
Today, just totally. I'm usually calm, I'm like, I'm positive, going forward. And I'll be positive next week because I see like all the draft capital we have and stuff. But this Harbaugh shit really has me fucked up because it's like we're not even trying.
Yeah, I mean, forget him. Harbaugh, McCarthy, Stefanski, Kingsbury, any of these guys would be a major upgrade over quite literally the worst head coach in the NFL. If you're doing a coach draft right now, Aaron Glenn is dead last and no one's even thinking twice about it.
That's true. But I wouldn't want Kingsbury and Stefanski. I don't think has really done anything with a quarterback. But
he made the playoffs twice in Cleveland, Stefanski.
I know. He had Baker and everything. I get it. And he had I get what he did. But, we have a chance to get John Harbaugh, and you're not even testing the waters, you bitch.
I know.
You're not even
insulting.
So I don't know. That he just has me messed up. But next week I'll be happy. I'll be happier. I'll start diving into the draft more. But that's all I got, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, give him a hug, Woody. He is the great big fella.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
It's brutal, man. Again, the resumes of Harbaugh and the resume of McCarthy, there's no difference. The Jets could try and get either. Harbaugh being available is good. If the Giants hire him, the Jets can then hire McCarthy, who I think the Giants might end up hiring if they can't get Harbaugh. It's either him or Stefanski. Look at the resume here. One guy's fat, the other guy isn't. There's a perception that Mike McCarthy is like bad. Compare now McCarthy's resume to Sean Payton's resume. I did this in Houston on the radio down there. I would call Sean Payton skinny Mike McCarthy. It's the same resume. I would prefer Harbaugh if I could have one. But again, Mike McCarthy is a good football coach, and the Jets need a stabilizer. So instead, we're not going to talk to either, because that would make too much sense. But you know how things go around here.
Thinking is overrated.
And thus, that is the problem. Instead, we get Mr. Trust Me, bro.
I know it's hard to say. Just trust me, have faith in what we're doing.
It's like, it's unreal. It's unreal. FPP says, didn't V-Man always say honestly like Mad Max?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, V-Man did say that a lot. Now Mad Max has really coined that phrase. Pork in the morning is in the raffle for one. Yeah.
Ever force a damn turnover?
You know the answer to that, Joe. Oscar writes in, Jake, we need to get Carnell Tate as our receiver in the draft. I don't care what we have to give up, trade up for him, because there's no way he falls to 16. The Jets could do that, Oscar. Right? If they wanted to put pick 16 on the table in a second, if they love Tate that much to move up, maybe, if the board breaks a certain way. Tate could go in the top 10, though. It's going to be tough to do. I don't think they would take him at 2. Maybe they could trade down and take him if they're not in love with one of these quarterbacks, or they already added another veteran and I don't know. Mike Dems checks in. Oh, hold on. My browser's freezing. There we go. I'm a little behind, but does David T keep the same song on a loop in the background all day, every day? It's an excellent question. I guess we'll never know. Ladies and gentlemen, a super chat from Eli Betts. Eli, I hope you saw the show when I told the great Chuck Wagon live on the air that your generous donation of the raffle prize you won, the Jet Legends jersey, You wanted to donate it to the Chuck Wagon. I ordered Chuck Wagon as Nick Mangold jersey on your behalf. So thank you, Eli. You are now in the raffle for 5. Has anyone put Danny's dad in the raffle? Let's get him some entries. Compliments of the Asmaniacs. Get well soon. Jet up. I love it, Eli. That's awesome. We will put Danny's dad in the raffle. And also, I'm going to get in touch with Danny and his dad. Send him some merch from the store. Maybe not jet-related merch, but some Asmaniac gear. Cisco Lopez in the Asmaniac raffle for 5. Give him a hug, Woody.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Thank you, Cisco. Mad Max writing in. The Jets need to fire Aaron Glenn and hire John Harbaugh, but Woody Johnson is probably hugging Aaron Glenn right now. No, the hug is at 8:05 a.m., Max.
Thinking is overrated.
It's part of the schedule. Joe writes in, how about Bain with the number 2 and Simpson at 16? I don't know if Simpson makes it to 16, though, Joe. That's a risk if that's their only playing for quarterback. I don't hate the premise. I just don't know if that's possible. P. Hayes writes in, Jake Glenn beat Cousins and Flacco, 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks this year with terrible quarterback play, and he's a great coach. Yeah.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Forgot to make the chat subscribers only today, which explains the absolute imbecile comments we've received. That has been rectified. More of your calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say hello to a guy who we love, we respect. Some of us might even fear.
I'm not that scary.
Hello, Pork.
Hey, what's up, guys? I just want to, maybe there's some silver linings here, and that was special teams. We know that. But there was like a team back in the day. Remember the Chargers in 2010? They were a really good team. And they just missed the playoffs because they had the last ranked special teams. 32nd in the league. Now we at the top, and we had like the fifth best ever since they've been keeping that standard. DVOA.
Yep.
5th best ever with the 3-13 right with 3-14 record. It's unheard of. Now, when the Chargers in 2010, they had the number 1 ranked defense and the number 1 ranked offense, and they still didn't make the playoffs because of how poor that special teams played. So if we had any bit of a defense this year, we should have at least won 7 games. At least. Even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If we could sell the play of Jermaine Johnson, which he played in, I don't even know where he played this year.
No one got better. Everyone just severely regressed on the team. It's incredibly disheartening.
When I listened to Tenenbaum and you talking earlier, I watched that. I don't know where Tenenbaum gets his reasoning from. Saying Glenn's it was only 1 year of a 5-year contract. He sunk the ship. We're at the bottom of the ocean. We're a laughing stock of all sports. We're we're the butt of every joke.
It has never been worse because the perception of the Jets has never been lower. They have all these premium picks and cap space, and no one has any confidence. No one's even that excited about it because of how bad the coach is.
When Stephen A. Smith is out there just bashing you, I mean, I don't really care what he has to say, but he's right. Everything he said about it was right.
Yeah, and that's what sucks. I would love to push back on Stephen A. because I just think sometimes he bloviates because he can, and I don't think he's wrong. He's wrong with the Dante Moore is going to stay in school because of the Jets. I don't buy that. But when he's saying Glenn should be fired, it's a joke he's not, and Woody's a terrible owner, how can anyone dispute that?
No, I mean, maybe Woody's kids would do a better job than him. Maybe
I
they're more
would love
passionate.
I would love for Chris Johnson to be the voice, the public face of the organization.
Somebody has to be, and somebody has to go out and at least acknowledge stuff and, give Glenn or something, a state of the owner needs to give a state of confidence, something, because there's none from us. The only confidence he gets are from his cronies. Guys that backed him in the beginning of the year. Tannenbaum saying the Jets are going to win more games than the Steelers. Roger.
Let me play that.
Season, what is he creating?
Yeah, let me play that for those who missed it. This was discovered on Twitter. And again, I work with Mike, and I told him straight up, Aaron Glenn is a disaster and he should be fired. I said it to his face on Sunday. You heard the segments, but this was what Tannenbaum was saying at the beginning of the season.
Stephen A. There was such terrible coaching in New York last year. Aaron Glenn is going to be Dan Campbell East in terms of penalties, turnovers, end of half scoring. It was, if you look at penalties, for example, Jets were worse than the league. They're going to be massively better. I'm not saying the Jets have the highest ceiling. This is year one, but their floor is dramatically better. They're going to be one of these teams that's no one's going to want to play because they're tough, they're physical, much the way CC and Damian's tweet alluded to. So to me, they are going to be, again, not the flashiest team, but they're going to be well coached.
I just love Stephen A's facial expression being like, Mike, like what? It's complete asinine, man. This has been an unmitigated disaster. And this head coach still having a job is the biggest slap in the face to this amazing fan base.
362 days left.
Yep.
So let the countdown begin.
Hey, we're all we got. We'll be here somehow. The diehards will be here.
We have each other. I'm out, guys. Jet life to the next life.
Joke. Dan Campbell East. All right, more of your calls right now. Let's say hello to the highly respected Jams, who's next on the show. What's up, Jams? Are you there?
I'm here.
What's going on, Jams?
How goes it, Jake? I don't know. You just gotta fire him. If you don't fire him, it's just it'll be worse next year if you let this guy stick around. But Harbaugh, I heard that Lamar and John Harbaugh had not a squabble, but some kind of rift between the two of them, which is why he ended up leaving. Or they would rather have gotten rid of Harbaugh than Lamar. But he took the Ravens to the playoffs, a few times anyways, I think. But he could coach circles around Aaron Glenn.
I like that beanie you're wearing there, Jams.
I appreciate that. This is my super dad beanie.
Are you a dad?
Yeah, my daughter got me this.
How old's your daughter?
5.
It's a big purchase for a 5-year-old.
Indeed. She'll be 6 in September.
I like the way you lined up the beard there too, Jams.
I appreciate that. Straight razor. Takes practice, but if you have a straight razor, practice.
Now, Mike Perez says all this guy does is slow down the show. Is there any chance we can get you to run instead of pace?
Yeah, I can do that.
Maybe a little 40-yard dash? Yeah, suck it, Mike Perez. This show ain't being slowed down now.
There we go. I'm not quite as fast as I used to be, but I can still move a little. But yeah, speaking of the press conference, I'm glad you guys pointed this out. It did look like Muji was sort of running the show. So maybe he has a little bit more insight. Is it possible that Muji knows something that Glenn doesn't in terms of his like future or future plans or, you know?
Do you believe in the Muj, Jams?
I think he's made pretty good trades, you know. He fleeced, which I like Sauce. I'm bummed that he left, but you know.
Now let me ask you this. What do you put on your toast?
I like to do avocado toast. I'm trying to, you know, lean down and stay in shape. I'm getting into my, you know, later 30s, so I gotta, you know, make sure my diet's a little on the cleaner side. But
You don't put
avocado
any jam
toast,
on it?
I see what you did there. I actually do like jam. Blueberry jam is probably my go-to if I go for jam. Dante Moore,
How do you feel about strawberry jam?
Strawberry jam? Strawberry's okay. I prefer blueberry, but strawberry's
What about
alright.
what about orange jam?
Orange jam? I'm gonna have to try that. I've never.
Cherry?
Cherry? Cherries are good. I like cherry.
What about peach?
Peach? Yeah.
Blackberry?
Yes. Blackberry, yes. Blackberries are good.
All right, we'll get his thoughts on it, obviously. He's very qualified and adept at the subject.
That had a kick to it. Avocado toast, bro. Really?
Yeah.
Have you been smoking funny cigarettes lately?
I deck it out. It's not just okay. So I put avocado on it. I'll put turkey bacon or Wagyu on it. Make a sandwich. Maybe some eggs.
Oh,
very good.
Ooh, that sounds.
You don't like that?
That's
It's
hideous.
great. I'm telling you, you got to try it.
I'm a steak man myself, but when it comes to certain things, yeah, you're a little over the top on certain things. Let's see here. Let me just say this about Aaron Glenn. You might be right about one thing. He has to go.
Yeah, he's got to get out. He stinks. I told Jake he couldn't coach flies to shit.
Now, how about he just couldn't coach it? He couldn't coach horse manure from dog shit. That's pretty low self-esteem. This man has no balls.
Yeah.
It's like enough of the hugs. Grow some balls.
Yeah.
Am I right? Am I right about one thing about saying grow some balls?
Yeah.
This team has no balls. You know what it's got?
Yeah.
Soggy, saggy, useless bananas.
Jets, Jets.
That's right. Yeah, he's either.
Hey, Jams, I'm getting another call. I need you to host the show again like we did in the offseason. I'll be right back.
Appreciate it. Okay, so if you're not going to fire Glenn, then you got to get a staff around him who's competent, who knows what they're doing, has experience making picks, you know, defensive court. You got to get a great staff if you're not going to fire Glenn. And Woody is just as much to blame as Glenn, if not more, because he hired him and he doesn't want to. Any progress in your YouTube show? Somewhat. I still got to get some more, a few more pieces of equipment, but you know. It's a work in progress. Beast loves raw meatballs. Yeah, I don't personally like raw meatballs, but hey, if that's your thing, Beast. More power to you. James, you're better than Jake. I appreciate that, but no, we know Jake is the GOAT. But maybe in a few years I can have my own show and do fairly well. What seed do you think you'll be during Asman? What seed do I think? I'm not quite as well known as the other Asmaniacs, and there's a lot of great ones. So if I had to put myself somewhere, I don't know. I'm probably mid bottom somewhere in there. In terms of the rankings. Canned yams? Yeah, actually canned yams are not bad. Little brown sugar, maybe some cinnamon. Bake them in the oven even.
Hey, James, great job filling in, man. Really appreciate it. Call back soon. It's always going to get a James call on the program. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Flight Risk says, Google Adam Gase's current job. I already know what it is. He's a, quote, strategic advisor for the 33rd team. I don't know what that means. Maybe I'll ask Tannenbaum on Sunday when we do the show together. What does Adam Gase do for the 33rd team? Honestly, I'd take Gase over Glenn. Seriously. Gase won 7 games in his first year with a way worse roster. 3 games of that year were started by Luke Falk. And he still won 7 games. And Gase was terrible. At least the opening drive was good. Omar says, what's the game next season, Jake? I'm in the Bay Area, so hopefully it's the Chargers one, LOL. Blessings for everyone in here. Let's go, Jets. Omar, I could tell you that the game next year for the road trip for the Asmaniacs is TBD. We got to see the schedule when it comes out. Right? Like, I'd love to do Chicago, but we're not doing Chicago if it's in November or December. If we do Chicago, Jets at Bears in September, great. Yeah, I'd love to do Nashville. It's going to fall. We need to do the game in September, pretty much. Earliest is first week of October. I want the Jet season to still matter when we do this trip. Yeah, we did Tampa this year, and all of us melted, but at least at 0-2, they were still alive. Like, the season wasn't cooked yet. It was cooked right after the game. And then Captain Accountability said, we're not the same old Jets. Okay. Chargers would be great. I'd never been to that stadium yet. It wasn't built when I lived in LA for a semester in college years ago. Air Rose writes in, Jay, crazy long shot idea, but worth trying. Can you and the other creators reach out to Tannenbaum and others to push Woody to pursue Harbaugh? 9 picks in rounds 1 and 2. The Jets are a prime spot for Harbaugh. Low risk opportunity for him. It wouldn't work, Air Rose. I know what you're trying to do. The Jets, they would not listen to anything we say. They won't. Again, they're going to stick with Glenn. Woody loves him. Even if they did reach out to Harbaugh, I don't know. I don't know if he would take the job anyway. You got to try, though. If he won't take the job, maybe Mike McCarthy would. But no, they're going to run it back with, trust me, bro.
And I know it's hard to say. Just trust me, have faith in what we're doing.
What is an Aaron Glenn quarterback?
What do you look for in a quarterback? Like, what's an Aaron Glenn quarterback?
A winner. Coaching. It's coaching. Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
Just coaching. Proceeds to oversee a defense that didn't have 1 interception. Mind-boggling. Big fella, instead of dropping a deuce, we now drop a 33rd turd. Hey, the Jets have the 33rd pick in the draft. How about that? Also, worth noting that because they have the 33rd pick in the draft, That means you essentially have another first-round pick, and you don't have to worry about the fifth-year option on that player. Now, in some cases, you maybe want the fifth-year option, but you can get a really good player at a cheaper salary for that player. Now, if it's a quarterback, you almost prefer to trade into round 1 and take him so you get the fifth-year option, but certain positions you don't. I would prefer to say dropping a Deuce is dropping a Renzel, that clown that would call into the show and comment and write nonsense. I forget which Asmaniac in the chat referred to it as that, but it's spot on. Let's see what we have here. We got more calls. Ladies and gentlemen, we say hello to Jack A, who's up next. What's up, Jack?
Hey, Jake, how you doing? Yeah. By the way, before you asked what Aaron Glenn does well. We know he gives great hugs. He's great at tug of war because you never let go of the rope.
Great point. Just don't let go of the rope.
And we know he can dance, at least down the sidelines. Yeah. After next year, he should go to Dancing with the Stars. And then
I'd root for him. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. He should do that one, especially. But, when it comes to the stuff today about the Dante Moore stuff, I don't agree. I don't understand why you would turn down close to $40 million. And these people are also talking this Friday, if he plays a great game and he beats Mendoza, who says he doesn't have consideration to go number 1? They don't understand in that regard. Obviously, I think Mendoza has a safer floor, but if Dante Moore goes out and beats Mendoza and then goes on to win the national championship, who's to say he doesn't move up to the top pick in the draft? So I think
even if he doesn't, he still might go in front of Mendoza if an NFL GM loves his upside more. It could be as simple as that.
Yeah, totally. And then it's also, I understand the Jets are in a bad spot, but the way we're treated as just this irredeemable place. And again, we have to prove we can eventually turn it around, but let's stop pretending like all these other teams, like the Raiders are paying 5 coaches currently not to coach their team. And just because they brought in Tom Brady, they're supposed to be this beacon of consistency. It's just because you're an all-time great player doesn't mean you're going to be a great executive. In 1 year, he was a part of hiring Pete Carroll. He was a one and done. They signed Geno Smith to $75 million. He's going to be out the door probably. Michael Jordan, he was the owner of the Hornets. He was the greatest basketball player ever. He was a horrible owner, and their team never really did anything for the Hornets. So I don't understand why it's always the Jets are the only team that it's just they're the only bad team that it never can work out for. And we are the ones that have to be bullied.
The pain is just a nightmare, man. It doesn't end, Jack. The hope is the quarterback is just so damn good it can overcome a lot of it, but we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, for sure. And there's other good guys. And if Dante Moore, I don't know what we're going to do. I hope Dante Moore comes out. And also it's if he doesn't, we just got to keep rolling along. I think this draft has talented players. Somebody commented before, Carnell Tate. I'm a big fan of Carnell Tate. I think he could be a very good fit next to Garrett Wilson. There's guys like David Bailey, Ruben Bain, Jordan Tyson as well. There's plenty of talented players, and we just got to keep building it along. Eventually, we'll get it right. That's all we can hope for.
Need the quarterback with that, Jack. 100%. There are good players in this draft. The problem is the Jets have had good players recently. They've hit on their top picks, and it didn't amount to anything. We have a worse coach than Saleh. It is. It's tough. Hey, shout out to Daniel Bloom. Danny's dad does go by Dan Bloom Sr. LOL. Appreciate this community and all the support. Means more to my dad and us than you all know. You made our night. That's awesome. Well, to Dan and Dan Bloom Sr., we're thinking about you both. And obviously, good luck to DBS, Dan Bloom Sr., with the heart surgery tomorrow. For those who tuned in a little late, I was open the show talking about this tweet I got from Danny, who's an awesome listener. His dad's awesome. So thinking about Danny's dad, Dan Bloom Sr. Got a heart surgery tomorrow, heart procedure. I'll tell you what, if the Jets haven't killed him, nothing will. He's got this. Amanda Madison in the house. AG is a reality star as Harbaugh is an A-list celebrity. It is insulting to John to even compare him to Glenn. Again, there were some Jet fans on social media that were trying to knock Harbaugh's resume. And I'm like, bro, you root for the Jets. Shut up. Enough. All right? We need to take a look at ourselves and acknowledge who we are. Some of you think you're too good for Mike McCarthy. How do you feel about that? He's got the same resume as Harbaugh. And the Jets didn't even interview the guy last year because he would have said stay with Aaron Rodgers and draft a quarterback behind him. That's what I had in Green Bay with Favre. We are not too good for anyone that's an experienced coach that has some semblance of a resume. Cliff Kingsbury wouldn't be my top choice, but if he was not Aaron Glenn and he could coach the quarterback up, great. At least he's been to the playoffs one of his 4 years as a head coach. Maybe he's learned for his second time around. We're in no position to be turning down anyone. We suck. All right, as much as I'd love to punch back at Stephen A. for his comments today, he's right. He's wrong with the Dante Moore stuff. He's right saying Glenn should be fired and Woody's a joke for not firing him. How can anyone dispute that? Sucks. Hollywood Rio in the house with a super chat. He's in the raffle for 2. Question, Jake, if possible, would you have Glenn on the show if he agreed? What would you tell him? Do you think he's heard you before? LOL, put me in the raffle. I would absolutely have him on the show. 100%. None of my criticism has ever been personal. It has strictly been about football. He's a good person. I respect him as a coach as far as, his assistant coach career, how, the fact he started as a scout. I know probably more about Glenn than most. He started his actual coach or front office career. He was the GM of the 2012 Houston Stallions. Go look it up. So, and he's also from Humboldt, Texas. People see Humboldt, the H is silent. I lived in Houston where he's from. So I have nothing but respect for Aaron Glenn, the person. This is strictly about football. Again, the same thing Stephen A. said, that I don't advocate for any black coach to lose their job, but how does he have a job? That's Stephen A.'s own words there on that clip we played. And it shouldn't be about race. It should be about who's the best candidate for the job. That's all that matters. Again, if Barney was coaching the Jets, I don't care. All right, if Yoda coached the Jets, I don't care. They can be green, purple, blue. I just want to win games. So, yeah, I'd love to talk to Aaron Glenn. What would I ask him? I would ask him, I'd say, you had a disastrous first year. Don't give me, trust me, bro. Why? What did you specifically learn? What changes are you going to make to your coaching staff? Why did you hire them in the first place? What did you learn from that? I mean, I could keep going. I'd have a whole thing. Again, the Jets would never make him available. Do I think he's heard of the show before? I'm sure he has. We've had a couple clips from the show go viral on social media, I'm sure. Aaron Glenn's a guy who says he doesn't care about the outside noise, but he certainly references it a lot during his press conferences. I know I'm not the first one that's made that observation. Gator McCluskey in the raffle for 5. He says, for Dan Bloom Sr. raffle, God bless, Godspeed. That's awesome, Gator. You're the man. We will make sure if Gator wins, it goes to Dan Bloom Sr. Leopold in the raffle for 5. What sport are people watching where they are not seeing going to a bad team ends quarterback careers? How many Darnolds exist? Gambling will be the next Sam is worse than playing 0-0 in roulette or playing 0-0 in roulette. Stay off the drugs and stay in school, kids. Yeah, but Leopold, I got news for you. He could stay in school, and then next year he can come out and he could be drafted into an even worse situation, or he could be drafted by the team he's trying to avoid if it is the Jets he's going back to school for, which, again, I think is BS. The reality is, if you are getting picked in the top 5, you're going to a team that sucks. That's why they're in the top 5. The idea that the Jets are a worse spot than the Raiders or the Browns or the Cardinals is nonsense. It's not true. The problem is the perception of the Jets is that they are a clown show, which unfortunately they are. But so are these other teams. But the problem is there's some optimism with some of these other teams because look at the teams in the top 5, 6 of the NFL draft. They all are going to have new coaches. We have a year's up sample size that Aaron Glenn ain't in. So the perception is, well, the Raiders will get this great coach now for Mendoza or Moore. Arizona will have a new coach because they got rid of shroom, shots, explosives. They got rid of Gannon. Tennessee's going to have a new coach. The Giants are going to have a new coach. The Giants will be getting the playoffs next year if they hire Harbaugh. Cleveland, new coach. Again, like that's the problem. All these teams have openings. The Jets kept the guy who embarrassed the franchise this year. His act with the media, all the talk, and then being a disaster, and then having his tail tucked between his legs yesterday, being like, man, being a rookie coach was unbelievable. Can't believe it. It's embarrassing to all of us that Woody Johnson paid this guy $10 million a year to be inept for the entire season. It's a joke. The problem is, if you're a quarterback who's considered great and you're going early, you're going to go to a bad team. The issue the Jets have is, while these other teams are also bad, it feels like the reputation for the Jets is specifically terrible. But again, no college kid, if they're being advised properly, Leopold, is going to turn down $60 million guaranteed to be the second pick in the draft and a $30 million signing bonus the second they sign their contract to go back to Oregon for a year and maybe make, let's say, $7 to $10 million. That's on the high side, by the way. Phil Knight's got money. That's money for a year. That's not over the course of a contract. And again, the Jets could draft Dante Moore next year. So what do you do then? They got 3 picks in round 1 and 27. It's a silly comment. McShay started this because, let's be real, his best friend is Joe Douglas. That's where this all starts. They said this when the Jets were going to get Trevor Lawrence potentially in 2020. Jeremy Schnapp did that big thing on ESPN. It's only when the Jets potentially can get a quarterback it's a storyline. But that's the problem because we're a clown show. And Glenn was supposed to clean that up. Had the arrow pointed up. Cisco says, Jake, say Woody sells the team. What changes outside of fire Glenn would you do to make us competitive next year? What is your plan to get us respectable? Well, I mean, if I would start with trying to hire a legitimate coach. Harbaugh's my first call. I'll see what happens in these playoffs here. If Mike Tomlin actually became available, I'd let him run the franchise. I'd start there. Then I would instantly pivot to a head coach with experience on the offensive side. And my first call will be to Mike McCarthy. Again, we talk about Harbaugh. We need to talk about McCarthy. What the hell is the difference? Look at the resumes. One guy is fat. The other one isn't. That's why Mike McCarthy's looked at differently, honestly. It's like fat shaming. It's ridiculous. They're around the same age. They each have 1 Super Bowl. They each have the same playoff success. They have around the same amount of wins. That's where I would start. There's other things, obviously, I would change too if I got a chance to make changes. But it starts with getting someone to stabilize the franchise. The Knicks did it with Thibodeau. We need a Tom Thibodeau desperately. Maybe Muji could be Leon Rose. I don't know. I know Aaron Glenn is not Tom Thibodeau though. He was supposed to be. He's not. He's everything. He's everything he said he was. It has been the opposite. But hey, we're supposed to have confidence in him because he's learned, because he's no longer a rookie coach anymore. What a load of crap.
And let me answer that also. As a rookie head coach and same thing as a GM, man, going through the first year and really understanding the landscape of everything, like that's a huge deal. You know, I will tell you that right now. And speaking of myself, man, there's a number of things I know that I'll be better at. And again, I'm still doing self-reflection, but I know for a fact there are a number of things. And the confidence that I have in Muji, the confidence I have in our owner, the confidence I have in myself, the confidence I have in some of the foundational players that we have, that's where the confidence really comes from, you know, if that makes sense. And there is a clear vision. There's a clear plan on how we want to go about doing things. And you match that with Muji, with our owner, the confidence I have in myself with some of the foundational players that we have, that in itself, to me, gives like all the confidence in the world, man, that we're going to go in the right direction. Now, there's some things we got to fix. Absolutely, we know that, and we'll fix those. We'll attack those the way we have to. But overall, man, I have all the confidence in the world that we're going to do the things we have to do to be successful.
He mentions the owner twice because he's got to kiss his ass because he's playing the game. It's the only reason why he has a job right now. Any other owner in the league, 31 other owners would have fired Aaron Glenn. You know what? 30. Mike Brown's cheap. So there's no way he'd eat 4 more years on a contract. Cincinnati's not run like other teams. They had a terrible year. Joe Burrow is really upset. And they bring back everyone. The GM, the entire coaching staff. It's insane. But anyway. But, like, nothing specific there. What did he learn? What did he learn? All we get is trust me, bro.
And I know it's hard to say. Just trust me, have faith in what we're doing.
Okay, sure. Air Rosie says, what is the downside? Give it a shot. Less than 1% of a chance. This is a generational opportunity. Woody has to be able to pivot. You don't think Woody Johnson knows his fan base is disgusted right now? Call the Jets season ticket office and see what they say. They'll be like, no one's renewing, sir. Why is that? Well, your team's a joke. I mean, again, look at the attendance this year. No one went to games. We were invaded by road team fans all year, including week 1. There were so many Steelers fans there. I think we just got to deal with it for another year. Unless Woody is smart, which, unfortunately, there's no evidence to support that. Jeffrey says, humility and acknowledging reality is currently devoid in Florham Park. A real plan requires both. I mean, I think Glenn got his teeth kicked in this year. I think he got humbled. He was no longer a jackass with the media anymore once they started losing all these games. But it doesn't matter. Again, if Aaron Glenn turns out to be successful, he would be a historic outlier. From 2001 to this year, that's 25 years, 25 seasons. There's been 29 coaches, including Glenn, that won 4 or less games in their first year. Only 2 ever won a playoff game. One of them, Zach Taylor. He's got Joe Burrow. Again, we are wasting our time. And I hope I'm wrong. Again, if Glenn proves me wrong, I'll have the ultimate egg on my face, and it will taste delicious. Because I want to be wrong. I'm a Jet fan. This show does way better when the Jets don't suck. Trust me on that. All right? I'm going to have to pull a Glenn here. Trust me, bro, on that. All right? Show better when Jets don't suck.
And I know it's hard to say. Just trust me, have faith in what we're doing.
All right? Trust me, bro. More calls right now, ladies and gentlemen, and then we'll get to a raffle coming up here. Let's say hello to a man where you guess where he's calling from.
Do you think that Bill Parcells' first year on the job, that the owner came up to him first, when he walked in the door to work, the first thing in the morning was giving him a hug?
The daily hugs from all members of the Mara family, Wellington, a young John Mara, Tim Mara, all of them. I mean, they were some powerful hugs.
Leon Hess. You think Leon Hess is leaning in with his hips for a big hug from Bill Parcells? I don't think so.
You know, unfortunately, my memories of Leon Hess aren't much other than getting some Hess trucks as a kid. So I don't know what type of hugger he was.
Well, how about Rex? You think Rex was looking forward to his morning hug from Woody? Or do you think he was able to get by without it?
Oh, Rex was loving that Woody hug.
Yeah, maybe he would take a foot massage. But, we should have known as soon as they asked him about the quarterback and he said a winner. Like, that is such trite, like non-media trained bullshit. Like, he was supposed to know this market. It's just so frustrating to see it so clearly now in retrospect. And now know that we're going to be saddled with this guy for another year. I just wanted to make a quick call because I was able to make it home tonight. I still got to get it out of the car. But I was able to get the Namath, the Klecko, and the Mawai jerseys signed, all framed up. And, so when I actually clean out this office, it's going to be something to behold. I'll put it in places of honor alongside my signed mated photo. And we'll be off to the races.
I love that, Kyle. That's at least a positive today. There we go.
Yeah, there's not much more to kind of seize on. But I think that you kind of said something that was interesting before. And when I first looked at the chat when I was commuting, someone was saying trade back and take Simpson. Well, you could just as easily trade up with 2 second-rounders and future second-rounders and future thirds next year to go up and get a guy like Simpson if the price was right.
Yep.
And that might be the way to do it because, you know, I don't know. I don't want to feel indebted to a quarterback. It would be ideal for us if somehow Simpson would have fallen to the second round and we could take him there, because then we could still keep our powder dry for next year and not feel bad about using a first rounder on a quarterback if it was obvious that Simpson wasn't working out. But that's just something to think about. Like the one thing these trades have done, and one thing that Muji and to a lesser extent, I guess Glenn have done, is give us flexibility. So I appreciate your time, Jake, and thanks for refurbishing my office with all these raffles.
I love it, ladies and gentlemen. Kyle Clifton.
The field goal team. Last year we had 3 blocks. This year, I mean, we had no blocks.
Love it. Kyle Clifton, one of the greats. Spencer Green checks in. Here we go. You could put me back in the hole. I don't care. Stephen A. sounded like you today. You've said the staff will ruin a QB, so why would they come? You're the biggest creator for the Jets. Let's move on. No, Spencer, because I think I have the following I do because I'm honest. So I'm not just going to move on because you want to. Find a different show if you want someone who's a Jet homer. Those exist, all right? You could find plenty of shows that are pro-Jets no matter what. We will be honest around here. What Stephen A. said about Dante Moore, I vehemently disagree with. I think he would come out and playing for the Jets wouldn't be a reason he'd stay in school and bypass $60 million guaranteed. What he said about Aaron Glenn was spot on. What he said about Woody Johnson was spot on. Because guess what? Most Jet fans agree with me. Aaron Glenn should have been fired. Woody Johnson's a bad owner. So you might not like it. You might want, this like softball, lovey-dovey type of show about the Jets who are coming off a 3-14 season and had the 3rd worst DVOA on offense and defense combined since 1978 when the stat was starting to be tracked. But I can't sit here and pretend. All right, again, I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here to be honest with my listeners. If me being negative means not sugarcoating a 3-14 season and historically bad football, then I'm guilty. But I'm not changing my opinion to make anyone comfortable. You're free to stop listening. Just because you want to move on does not mean we will move on. Because this fan base is fired up, and they should be. Because what we're being asked to sit through again for another year is disgusting. Gun Joe writes, and Glenn must have had Woody's footballs in his mouth to land this job over McCarthy. Gotta love them hugs. They didn't even interview McCarthy. Didn't even give him an interview. Disgusting. It really is. You can't make it up.
That had a kick to it. Poor Jake, you look like you've been getting pounded like a basketball all day long. This is embarrassing. Yeah. And I'll tell you, Stephen A. Smith, okay, I've seen this guy before. He's okay on certain points. But, dude, when you go a little too far, you got to take a step back, bro. Step back. You go a little far. Okay. Slow down. I'm like, you're good for basketball, but don't come here, man. Football's not your territory. Stick to basketball, okay? One at a time. Whatever. We put our pants on one leg at a time. And
very well said, Beast. Thank you. Hey, we got a raffle coming up shortly. Namath, Klecko, Martin, Grabet, Revis, Mangold, Keyshawn, your options for a Jets jersey. On that note, let's get back to your calls before we wrap up this baby and say hello to this man.
Gator, where is my intro? I need a cool intro. I've been calling in, supporting Jake for over 4 years. You did intros for Papa Jet, and Adam is too cool. I'm worthy of an interrogator. I don't understand why I don't have an intro. You suck, Gator. You really suck.
Hey, Jake.
Hello, Rob.
You know what? Tell this guy Spence and these other idiots not to watch your show anymore if they don't like your opinion. You don't have to sugarcoat something that's not fucking good. You got to sit there and pretend everything's good. We have an opportunity to get a guy like John Harbaugh, and we're not going to even give him a fucking phone call because we're staying with Aaron Glenn. But there's, I don't know, I'm just in shock how many people are okay with running it back with this dickwad here. This guy sucks. I don't want to see this guy anymore. But you know what? We're stuck for another year, Jake. Another year of this crap. And now we have the opportunity to get a really good coach in John Harbaugh, or call Mike McCarthy up, or use a Kingsbury for an offensive coordinator who could fix our quarterbacks. I don't want him as head coach, but as an offensive coordinator, yes, I would take him as offensive coordinator. Now we have all this here ready to go, Jake. Quarterbacks are ready to go. If we get lucky, Mendoza falls to us, fantastic. If not, we get Dante Moore. And then you got Kingsbury to help him get through the rough patches, and you get a good coach, either, again, John Harbaugh or Mike McCarthy, and we're rolling now. This is what the Giants are about to do. And we're going to stay being the laughing stocks of the league, Jake, anybody who tells you anything, tell them to shove it up their ass. You do whatever you want. You tell it like it is, Jake. This is the reason why people tune into you. But you always have a Nimrod or two that's got to put their 2 cents in and say stupid things. They're like happy being in football hell next year. It's going to be another year, Jake. Another freaking year of sucking with this guy. I don't want to suck anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of sucking. This sucks. Next year, but people are okay with it. Give him another chance. What has he done, Jake? What has he done positive to you that you think that this guy's any good? What has he done?
He gives great hugs.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
At least that's what it seems like. Good call, Rob. I love your passion. That's why this fan base is the best in sports. It's just we never get anything to show for it. Also, there are some drops there that Rob was saying that could be easily isolated by Gator. So I look forward to seeing what he does with that. Last chance to get in the raffle here. Again, Jets jersey coming up. Are we going to get 2 calls from Australia on the same show? Ladies and gentlemen, Aussie Jet Fan is next. Hello, Aussie Jet Fan.
Hello, mate. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, mate. Been watching your show for since you popped into my YouTube feed, actually. I think it might have been after the Jacksonville Jags game back in the day, and you were absolutely losing your shit after you sat in the rain. I laughed about it at the time, and I thought I've got to watch this guy a bit longer. I've been watching ever since, pretty much religiously, mate. Like, and I started following the NFL and was looking for a team. And unfortunately, your show is kind of the impetus, I think, for my Jets fandom.
Oh no!
Yeah, mate. I like an underdog, and I chose the team, I guess, based on your show. Mate, keep up the good work. It's pretty hard, to be honest. Like you had an Aussie fella on earlier today, you got to wake up at like 3 a.m. to watch the games, and they've been absolutely putrid this season. This coach has made pretty much every possible mistake that you could make as a coach. And there's no substance to the guy. Everything is bravado. Everything is trust me. And, I was listening to the Jacksonville coach in an interview the other day, and it's absolutely night and day difference between listening to Glenn and listening to Liam Cohen. Like that, it's obvious listening to him that he knows his stuff. And with Glenn, it just feels like there's no substance, and it makes it hard to have any, I guess, positive outlook for the next season. But they've got the draft picks, and even a blind pig can find a truffle, so you got to hope that they stumble onto a quarterback, a good quarterback. They don't ruin him. And then when he's inevitably fired the next year, hopefully that the new coach can salvage the situation, I suppose.
Wow. Well, I'm blown away that the Jags rant from that Thursday night debacle a couple of years ago led you to the Jets. And you probably thought, hey, maybe I made the right decision at first. Because then they get Rodgers in the offseason. We're all excited. And then you've got nothing for choosing to be a fan of this awful franchise. So I feel terrible for you. I didn't have a choice. I was born into it. But you chose this team. That's crazy.
Yeah. And like I said, I think you and your community are to blame for that. And some of the things that I've seen over the years, since watching it, I guess it was back when maybe it was Wilson's second year or whatever, But Bonesy and Neil having a shoe sale at the shoe sale competition, watching Beasts call-ins. And I even show you videos to people at work, and we laugh so hard about, we had when was it, about a couple of weeks ago, you had Santa Beast and stuff, and the good thing about it too is it's actually put me on to other content creators, and that the season and everything's going bad when Ian from Jet Central can't find something positive to say about the team.
Yeah.
When he gets negative, that guy's positive. When he gets negative, it's bad. But yeah, I watch a bit of Green Bean. I watch your show, definitely the most. But sometimes, I'll tune into Jet Central and Buffalo Jets fan. There's a lot of content there, and I think you guys are doing a really good job. But I think the thing that keeps me engaged through the bad games is listening to some of your callers. Rob and Neil and Gator does a good job, mate. It's fantastic. Keep up the good work.
Well, that's awesome. I got you in the raffle for 2 Aussie Jet fan. Hopefully you call again soon, because we've had 2 outstanding calls from Australia on the same show. And I had no idea, I guess, how many listeners we have in your country. So that's incredible.
Yeah, we're gluttons for punishment out here, mate. So, we'll put up with a lot. And, the Jets are certainly going to test that. That's for sure.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, great call. Thank you for your support. I'm so sorry that you chose the Jets, and I hope at some point you get to actually see, a fun team for a season. Forget, Super Bowl, just a team that's not awful.
Yep, something where at the end of the season you feel like there's some, it's not done by December would be awesome.
100%. Great call, Aussie Jet fan. Call again soon, all right?
Will do. All right, see you, mate.
Love it. How about that? 2 calls on the same show from Australia, and it wasn't Craig in Australia. There might need to be an Australia Jets fan club at this rate. Unreal. Ladies and gentlemen, we will get to more of your calls right now. On the line is a man where we warn you in advance before he calls in.
Warning, warning, Allen alert. Shit's about to get ugly, folks. Warning, Allen alert. Hide the children.
Hey, what's going on, Jake? Did you ever ask Tannenbaum how many guys he actually reached out to initially and how many guys turned down the offers?
No, that did not come up, because by the time we started doing the show, it was already week 1. It's not like we had an off season where any of that was discussed.
Will you ask him that? Just in general?
How many turned them down? I don't know if he'll be honest with me, to be honest. He'll talk in circles. I asked him to go back and watch my interview with him at the scouting combine after Glenn was already hired. I asked specifically, why didn't you guys interview McCarthy? And he just talked in circles and gave no answer.
So let me preface this by saying that I actually wanted Glenn out of the shitty candidates that the 33rd team brought forth. So I'm not going to deny that. I mean, obviously I wanted Ben Johnson from the start, but I knew he would never take the job. What I was bothered by with Glenn is Glenn came in with this attitude like he was better than everybody else. He went after coaches. He went after Saleh. He went after Tomlin. It reeked of a guy who just wanted to just pump his chest, and it didn't make sense from the start.
Nope.
And to me, when your attitude changes from the start of the season or even in the summer to at the end of the year, where you're basically whimpering throughout interviews, it just doesn't make sense to bring him back. And has anybody actually spoken to Woody, or has he actually given some sort of interview afterwards?
Has anyone spoken to repeat the question again?
Has anybody spoken to Woody?
Oh, to Woody about Glenn in particular?
about why he decided to keep him.
No, there's been no statement at all from the Jets.
Are you surprised that something has not been said?
I mean, the thought process, I think, from a PR standpoint on no statement is if they put out a statement, that means they're acknowledging that there was a problem or something. Which I think is dumb. I think which I think is dumb. I think Woody should come out and say, I believe in Aaron Glenn. I'm backing him. Otherwise, you just get you just look like you're only keeping him because you paid him. Like that's part of the perception too. I don't know. I mean, he should be fired, Alan. Like I think.
I understand that, but what I don't understand with Woody is Woody's big on perception, and Woody's big on just the moment. And he must have walked into that stadium against the Patriots and saw about 85% Patriot fans, and he had to realize that the tide was turning. That's where I don't understand this. I mean,
real quick, Alan, I'm not throwing you in the hole here for once. This guy Renzel, who I was nice enough to actually get tickets for him and his daughter to go to a Jets game this year, and then said I was racist on social media because I'm critical of Aaron Glenn. He writes in, let's talk man to man, Jake. Glenn's a great coach. Renzel, you are a despicable human being. Get lost.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it.
Never thought I'd throw someone in the hole that wasn't you while you were on a call, Alan, but continue.
Have you had an opportunity to speak to season ticket holders, guys who listen to the show who actually are season ticket holders?
Yeah, a lot of them have called in or tweeted me, and there's so many that have not renewed. Even more than last year.
I do feel bad for them the most. I also feel bad for the Jets season ticket representatives because they must be getting people just hanging up on them.
Is there a harder job in sports than being a Jet ticket rep right now?
Yeah. Now on to the draft. I'm good with Ty Simpson. I don't need a 23-year-old guy with 15 starts in the first round. No, thank you. I have no and I agree with you. I think he's a good fit in LA. Sit for 2 years and he could start at 26 or 25. He would never work here in New York. It just wouldn't work. And I know the Jets are in dire need of a quarterback. Ty Simpson, I'm good with. I have no interest in them. Okay. Secondly, on Dante Moore, and this is where I disagree with you. I think there's such a black cloud in the organization that I truly believe that Dante Moore and his representatives will not come to the NFL if he's going to get picked by the Jets. I really do believe that.
We've differed on this all year, but I will admit straight up, I'm not as confident as I once was because I do think the perception of the Jets. I think if they fired Glenn and had a legit coach, it's a non-worry. I think
so.
keeping
Let me ask
this
you a
coach
question.
is a legit problem for that.
If Dante Moore plays well, gets to the finals and loses, we'll say they lose to Miami in the finals.
Yep.
And he decides he wants to come back. How much of a black cloud is that toward the Jet organization?
Well, I mean, if it's leaked that he's going back to avoid the Jets, I mean, it's terrible.
Okay. And I do agree with you. And I've heard people say this. I truly believe that the Moore representatives have started speaking to the Raiders and asking them if they would take him. I really believe that he is trying to avoid the Jets. I really do.
But what is that based on? That's just speculation.
It's speculation, but I think quarterbacks, especially a guy who's 20 years old, like him, has seen what has gone on in the organization. And trust me, I think the Raider organization is a joke too.
But that's the whole point. If he's doing if he's doing due diligence, like he's avoiding the Jets to go to the Raiders or the Browns or the Cardinals.
I think the Tom Brady presence is bigger than you think. I understand Tom Brady has done nothing as a partial owner or whatever he is, but I think his presence alone is bigger than anything that the Jets could give. And I think Woody Johnson is such a laughingstock that I don't think that he has any interest in coming here. I truly believe that.
I mean, look, we're going to know. We're going to know if he declares or not. I
also think quarterbacks, as much as you say the $50 or $60 million guaranteed on the contract, which makes a lot of sense, I truly believe if you're going to be drafted first or second overall, you're thinking more so of your second contract. You're thinking of the $250 million you're going to sign as a
Eh.
second year. I think you really are.
I don't think you
do.
think that far in advance. You're not
actually
guaranteed. But Alan, you're not guaranteed to get a
But
second.
when's the
contract.
last time the Jets have had a quarterback that they've given a second contract to?
Mark Sanchez.
Okay. Barely, but they did. And
They did. They extended him after they flirted with trying to go after Peyton Manning, and then they extended Sanchez.
Yeah, it's been a long time for that to happen. I think
Well,
Derek
Fitz technically got a second contract. Well, he was on his current contract when
Yeah,
they
but
acquired him.
he wasn't drafted by the Jets. So
I mean, it's literally Sanchez and before that Chad. That's it.
Okay, so I think Derek Carr got a second deal. I believe he got a second contract. I think that's the last Raider who's gotten a second contract. I believe. I believe so. I'm not that sure about that. I think quarterbacks and representatives are looking in that situation. They're looking at Darnold. They're looking at Zach Wilson, and they're thinking, I don't want to be the next statistic. And that's why I truly believe, as much as you say, oh, it doesn't make a difference, they can change it and be a Jet. I think they're looking at that situation and they're thinking, I don't want to be another statistic in an organization that has absolutely no idea how to build up a quarterback. And I truly believe also that Aaron Glenn's presence is going to be a factor in this. I just don't believe.
So that is one thing I agree with you on. I still think ultimately the money is too much, and he'd be silly to go back. He can get hurt. A million things can happen. But to your point, I believe Glenn's presence does hurt the percentages of him definitively coming out, because I think if the Jets had a legit head coach, it would be a non-starter. They fired Aaron Glenn and hired Mike McCarthy or John Harbaugh, or even Cliff Kingsbury is a proven offensive guy, for example, or Stefanski. I think he's definitely coming out. I still lean with him declaring because of the money, but I will admit I'm no longer as confident in that as I was when you and I have talked about this before, because of just how bad of a coach Aaron Glenn is and how bad the perception of the Jets is now under his watch and the owner.
And finally, with chatter that Flores is going to be the next head coach in Vegas, that's been talked about, and Daboll being the OC. If you're Dante Moore, you'd rather be coached by a Brian Daboll, what he did with Josh Allen, than come to the Jets and being coached by Tanner Engstrand.
Yeah, but Fernando Mendoza could go number one, and it's a moot point. So then what?
I understand that. I truly believe if Dante Moore declares, I think that he has an in, that he's going to be a Raider. I really believe
we get Mendoza, who I like better anyway.
Okay.
We got to deal with a year. We got to deal with a year of Mendoza with Glenn. And then hopefully Mendoza does not get, his development totally ruined. It's a Dart, Cam Ward situation. Then we'll get the right Caleb Williams. We'll get the right coach for 2027. And then off we go, hopefully.
But I'm surprised that Woody has not answered any questions. I think he's in hiding because he knows he'd get absolutely destroyed with questions.
The Jets didn't stream the presser yesterday. They posted it after the fact. They didn't want the live comments being fire Glenn for everyone.
Okay. Have a good one, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alan.
They call me Alan and everybody hates me because I'm a super douchebag.
Again, $60 million plus $30 million at signing. I think that's an enormous amount of money for anyone. I think he'll declare. There's such a risk if you're Dante Moore, you're projected top 2 when you go back to school. You can get hurt. You could have a bad year. A year ago, Garrett Nussmeier was a top 10 pick, according to Allen. In October, Lenore Sellers was the top quarterback, according to Allen. So you never really know. So I think he declares. But again, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm as confident as I was, because I do think the Jets being a dysfunctional mess with Aaron Glenn overseeing it and how bad their offense just was, there probably are some doubts. I get that. But I think the money's too much. Air Razi says, I'm Zach Lacrosse goalie's dad. When I was young, I used to joke about the Jets going back to the Super Bowl. Now I'm in my 60s. I'm hoping to see a winning season. Oh, man. And you made your son a Jet fan, too. I know. The fact that the Jets haven't won more than 7 games in a decade is insane. 7 games. There were some Jet fans that were like, I don't want Harbaugh. Harbaugh's worst season. He had 1 5-win season in the middle of his tenure years ago. And a bad Harbaugh year is 8-9 or 8-8. Look at the record here. All right. His 5-11 year was in 2015. So from 2016 on, the least amount of games Harbaugh ever won was 8. And there's been some years mixed in where Lamar was hurt for some of that. and he had the corpse of Flacco at the end there. Yet Flacco is still playing because, of course, like this year, they started 1-5. They finished 8-9. If that kick goes in, they make the playoffs. That was the one kick at the end. If Justin Tucker wasn't a pervert, they're in the playoffs. Think about that. Christopher says, I'd rather have Drew Aller than any of these guys. I'm okay on Drew Aller. I mean, maybe in the 4th round. He's got talent. I'm good, though. All right, home stretch here. We got the raffle coming up. We only have 17 memberships so far on the show. So let's get some more entries if you want in. Let's say hello to Welcome, who's up next on the show. What's up, Welcome?
Man, Jake, this team, it's making me feel older than I am.
Oh, I know that feeling.
I'm so sick of it. And I'm not trying to be negative. First, there's a couple things I want to say. Thank you. I got that merch. I got the G5 shirt. Awesome, man. I was wearing it. I would have wore it to the show, but I was cleaning, so I didn't want to get it dirty because it was white.
All good, man.
And then I also wanted to say shout out to Dan B's dad for the surgery. I want to know thoughts and prayers coming from Wisconsin. So even the Jets fans out here got you, man. But dude, like I'm at the point right now where if Dante Moore does declare and we got him and Fernando coming out, I don't even know if I want us to draft him at 2 because I just know how bad it's going to get. Like at this point, like if we lose Glenn midway through the season and we just like break the confidence of this rookie quarterback, things can get really bad next year. And I have this feeling that it's just going to be a dumpster fire. Like, I don't know if you've seen, especially with how shitty Twitter's been for you for the last couple of days, but I don't know if you've seen the tweet going around. I think it came out yesterday, but Cardinals getting the 2nd round pick from us for us getting Kyler Murray the 3rd pick and then first next year.
Yeah, I'd do that deal in a second.
At this point, I don't even like Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray shit. I'm
getting a 1st round pick. Yeah, I'm getting another 1st round pick and a quarterback for a year, and then fire Glenn and let's let whoever we have coming in draft Arch Manning or Julian Sayin or whoever next year. I'm in.
If that trade came across Muji's,
it's not a real trade. There's no way the Cardinals would use the 3rd overall pick.
Yeah,
and Kyler to do it. Kyler, I think, will just be released and they'll try and save cap.
Because at this point, man, I'd much rather have Glenn get a project quarterback because I don't care if you ruin him, but if you're gonna use one of these valuable 1st round picks and ruin a good rookie, like even if we did something like that and then used a later pick on like one of the other rookies, like I'd rather do that and then try to save some of that because I want a quarterback. Don't get me wrong, Fernando Mendoza is awesome. If he fell to us at 2, I would buy a Fernando Mendoza jersey right away. But I can't figure out who's the bigger idiot, Woody Johnson for not seeing this, or fucking me for having this Justin Fields jersey I bought because I saw the Pittsburgh game and I was like, oh man, we're back. I'm ready. I'm a fucking idiot, man. Excuse my language, but dude, it's just so infuriating, man. It pisses me off.
I get it, man. Believe me, it's brutal. We're punting on a year for no reason. Like it's so silly, but we're the Jets.
Well, dude, and I live pretty close to Chicago, so I get to see all these Bears fans. I have a lot of Bears fans in my family.
Yep.
They were in, you know how much living in Wisconsin between the Packers and Bears fans, Packer fans they've been shitting on Bears fans my whole life because Packers, Bears, big rivalry. Bears fans turned it around. Look, you got Ben Johnson, and look, this offensive like guru, he can just turn this thing around. And it doesn't matter the talent of your players because Caleb Williams was there last year.
Again, it's all coaching, man. Look at the Jaguars with Liam Cohen. Trevor Lawrence has been there for years and has never played like this. And their defense now all of a sudden is unreal. Like you get the buy-in because your offense is so good, and you make smart coaching hires. Like Campanelli's an outstanding DC for Jacksonville. I think he's a Jersey guy too, so he's from the area. Like it's coaching. And again, that's what Aaron Glenn said it was going to be all about this year. He is such a fool. He is such a phony.
Coaching. It's coaching. Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
And now he's talking about how, I learned so much after being a rookie coach. It's like, no, man, you can't come in as arrogant as you were and say everything you said and then just expect diehard Jet fans to be like, all right, year 1 happened. It was an unmitigated disaster from start to finish, but all good. You definitely are going to figure it out because we trust you, man. You won't give us any evidence you know what you're doing, but trust me, bro, we're in.
Yeah. If it's coaching Aaron Glenn, why is Justin Fields playing the worst that he's ever played in his career? I watched him every year down here when he was with Chicago, when he was with the Steelers. If it's coaching, why is Will McDonald playing worse than he did? Why is Jameer it's not it is coaching. He's right. It is coaching. It's bad coaching.
Right.
And oh man, it's just, I know this year's going to go bad, but I know I'm going to try to get bought back into it. But if Muji was smart, he'd be trying, because I think he's been making some good moves. I think he needs to just separate himself more and more and more from this guy, because it's not getting any better.
Man, I don't get it. It's brutal, man. I hopefully we're wrong, or we just get through this year and then things start to get better, but I don't know.
And dude, one thing else I want to say too about all the Twitter stuff, I've never seen so much hate for any other Jet content creator.
Yeah.
And I've been on there for a while. I've seen it. And I just want all those people that are hating on you so much. You're one of the reasons that we're stuck with Woody, because you're going to support every decision he makes and there's no bite back. Well, guess what? Things aren't going to change. If you don't push back on, it's anything in life, man. If you have a bad job and you don't do anything about it, guess what? You're going to keep having that bad job. You're not going to change unless you speak. And if you're actually speaking up for us because you don't want it to be this way anymore, I don't want it to be this way anymore. I have all this Jets merch, and I'm just so pissed. Year after year, I have a Rodgers jersey up here. I have a Fields jersey. When can I buy a jersey and keep it for years on end? That's not a retired player.
Well said, man. Yeah, again, excellent call. I appreciate it. I'm not trying to be well-liked, all right? If you want to be well-liked on Twitter, just tweet only positive things about the Jets. You'll get great engagement. All right? I'm here to be honest, and that's why people tune into this show, because I'm honest. All right, I host a weekly radio show with the guy who recommended Aaron Glenn. All right, and I told him to his face that Aaron Glenn should be fired for an hour straight on Sunday. We had the debate. So again, people could agree or disagree with me. That's fine. No, you're getting my honest opinion. Now, I'm not a Jet employee, nor will I ever be, unless Gary Vee buys the team and he makes me the director of common sense, which is the only job I would want with the organization. If being negative means I'm not going to sugarcoat a 3-14 season, then you know what? I'm guilty. Because I'm not changing my opinion to make anyone more comfortable or sugarcoat it. It's just not who I am. I think people want the truth. I think that's why there's 500 plus people that were watching this show right now. Thousands after the fact. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Welcome to something. That's the man who just called. Welcome to something. You're the man. Hit it.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're shit.
Love that. Love that. All right. It is almost time for the raffle. Let's check in, though, before we do the raffle, with a man who needs no introduction.
Not even hungry right now. I'm not even thinking about food right now. I'm just trying to think of what the hell this team needs to do. I still say 8 new players are going to need to be made.
We might need more than 8.
Well, we need 8. We need to fill a lot of gaps. And I do want another safety. I do want another tight end, another wide receiver. We need Mendoza and maybe one good quarterback. I think it's time we start diving into the free agent market and start looking around. There's going to be a shit pile of talent. It's out there, folks. The free market talent is wide open right now as we speak. It's like this. Wide open. Go get it. Not that hard to do. It's like you do. This is a simple thing we do every morning. You get up, you go to 3 good meals, 1 big good shit, and you go right back to sleep. Simple.
How many shits have you taken today?
You see this number?
1 big one.
Numero uno.
I see.
Gotta take it easy. You can't be overdoing that shit. Plus, what I want to see next year is this constant crapping all over us, and then I want to see this team making it. Make a change.
I
want to
gas
see some
right now.
I want to see changes. That's what I want. And I think it's time that Harbaugh comes here. Glenn has to go. I'm sorry. I respect the guy for what he's done, but unfortunately, he didn't live up to his word. He's not qualified for this job. I don't see anything in him. He doesn't have the standards. He doesn't have the quality. He doesn't have the guts. He's nothing but a yellow chicken. And I'm talking a big yellow one. There's things about him I do respect for what he's done for the NFL and all that. But this guy is no Bill Parcells. He's more Rich Kotite from the 90s that was so bad that I couldn't imagine how much you want to pull your hair out and go. Did you ever do that a couple of times, Jake, where you want to pull your hair out and go, it's like, damn, this team can't get anything going. What is wrong with this team? You can kiss my big ass. Woo!
Well said, Beast. Comment from Jets Johnny. Wow, Glenn won 3 games. Let's hire Stefanski. He lost to AG. If AG sucks, what does that mean about Kevin? Adam Gase beat Sean McVay. What's your point? Upsets happen. Stefanski's a 2-time coach of the year. Won a playoff game in Cleveland. I'd take him over Aaron Glenn in 2 seconds. All right? And anyone with a brain would too, except maybe you, Jets Johnny. We know you're obviously a Glenn bootlicker. None of these guys are perfect coaches, even Harbaugh. He's not. McCarthy. They're all better than what we currently have by a wide margin. And they're offensive guys in the case of McCarthy, Kingsbury, Stefanski. Veteran Jet fan. Lawrence, 4-13 last year. Caleb, 5-12 last year. May, 4-13. Herbert, 5-12 the year before Harbaugh. Yeah. It's tough. All right. We're ready for the raffle. Let's bring on our master of raffle ceremony.
I gas right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, are we ready?
Ready.
Then, enough of the time of the talking. It is time to spin the 2026 Wheel of Champions!
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Oh, yeah, baby. Here we go. You know the rules. 1 spin to determine the winner. If you win, you have to email me, asmanjake@gmail.com. Your name, your address, the jersey you want, and the size you want it in. It's Jets Legends or Garrett Wilson. Those are the choices. Good luck to all. Only one can win. Your winner is... Man, he's got some luck with the raffle wheel over the course of the raffles. Ralphie Rocks. He hasn't won in a couple months, but man, when you're hot, you're hot. Ralphie Rocks is the winner. He's a big fan of Aaron Glenn. Field goal protection champs, Ralphie. Shout out to the pride of Port Washington, but I believe he now lives in Long Beach. Ralphie Rocks, little Strong Island connection for the raffle win. All right. Before we get out of here, super chat from Spencer says, Beast, there's many nice walking pads you can order for the attic. If you promise to walk on it when you call in, I'll order it. For a response to this super chat, we say hello again to the Beast.
I want nothing to do with that piece of shit asshole. He can go take him and stick him up his ass. You tell me how crazy I am. I just took 4 chair headshots.
Well said. Well said. All right, that does it. We had a caller who said he started watching the show after the infamous Jacksonville Jaguars rant that I had after the Jets lost to the Jags on Thursday Night Football. I'm trying to find that rant. I'll play it at the end here on the way out. So I haven't heard it in a while. Hold on, I'm going through all my files here. So StreamYard is acting up. Let's see. I think it is in my third clip folder here. Hold on. Let's find this. Because I will play it. Why not? Hold on. You can see the StreamYard's acting up. But it's worth your time for those who haven't heard it. But I don't know if I can find it. That's the problem. Might have to rain check it. I wanted to end the show with it. I thought I knew where it was. But unfortunately, I don't know if I do. Try one more time here. Man. One last chance. If it's not in this folder, I don't know. No. I don't know where it is. So I'll leave you guys with something that is maybe even better. Enjoy. Go Jets. We'll be back tomorrow for our usual 2 shows.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Base, and Jake. Get it started, Gator.
Base, and Jake. Base, and Jake. Base, and Jake. Base, and Jake.
Well, SuperChats always cut the line. And the Boyalo dances really fine.
When she's sucking them back them jets.
My senorita, you know she gets real happy.
Real happy if that female lookers rhyme.
Hey, Gator, it's a family show.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Base, and Jake. Base, and Jake. Base, and Jake. Base, and Jake.
Start with the quarterback. All right, I'm going to get into it. We'll take your calls. I'm sure the Zach Truthers will try and make excuses for Zach Wilson. Enough. He sucked. He was god-awful. And tonight was Zach Wilson's last start as the Jet quarterback ever. Barring injury, he's done. I'm sorry. I hate saying it. It's not personal. He seems like a nice kid. He's not the answer. He's not. Sorry. I don't want to hear any other takeaway from this game. You want to blame the offensive line? Sure, blame them. They were not good tonight. You want to blame the defense? That's the laziest take, and we're not allowing it. The defense allowed 19 points. That's a bad effort. They're on the field the entire game because this quarterback stinks. And I like Zach Wilson. I've defended Zach Wilson. I've tried to be patient with Zach Wilson, but it's enough. Zach Wilson truthers, he stinks. The guy is terrible. He stinks. All right? Stop defending him. He's got the lowest passer rating in the NFL this season, the lowest completion percentage in the NFL this season. He had the lowest passer rating in the NFL last season. He had the lowest completion percentage in the NFL last season. He hasn't gotten better. I was patient with Zach because he does have talent, because he does have potential, but it's not working. It is not working. He is not the guy. This team is too good to be 7-8. All right, this defense had a, quote, bad game. They gave up 19 points. 19. How dare the defense do anything? Come on, man. The quarterback stinks. He's not the guy. He has not improved. He has not gotten better. He is the same quarterback we saw last year. I defended him last year because we saw flashes. You see that from rookies. Then they get better. You know who got better? Trevor Lawrence got better. All right, watching some of the throws he made tonight. You know who got better? Justin Fields got better. Zach Wilson hasn't gotten better, period. You need your quarterback to make plays. They had 3 points against a Jaguars defense that allows over 23 a game. They're a bottom third defense. You're at home. Your season's on the line. And you scored 3 freaking points. Enough. I'm not dealing with the Zach Wilson truthers. If you're a Zach Wilson truther, you're out. You're not on the show. You're gone. We're not doing it. If your takeaway from this game is not that the quarterback is holding this team back, I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you. Seek help. I know I need help because I sat in MetLife and I'm going to have pneumonia from this garbage. Enough. I'm tired of it, man. This team is too good to be 7-8. They were 6-3. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. They have everything in place besides a franchise quarterback. And I don't know if Mike White's the guy, but I know he gives the team a better chance to win the last 2. And then I'll bring him back, and I'll bring in Jimmy Garoppolo, or I'll beg for Aaron Rodgers to come here, or I'll beg Derek Carr to come here. I don't know, but I do know the answer is not you run it back with Zach Wilson because, Jake, he needs more time. Enough. He's not playing well. He's playing awful right now. And the second any quarterback comes in, the offense magically looks better. Explain that. Oh, but it's Mike LaFleur's fault. Stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Enough. Stop.
What's up, Jake?
You're embarrassing yourself.
Oh, shit.
Stop.
Let me ask you something, ass man. What do you think of Zach Wilson?
He stinks.
Thank God he's gone. He never scores no fucking touchdown.
He stinks.
The second pick for number 2 destroyed the Jets' cause.
He stinks.
As maniacs kick so much ass, but some of them, they kill the vibe and make the show a freaking mess. So Jake reminds them.
He stinks.
When Allen calls, he speaks the hate. That cartoon douche, he trashed the Jets. Let Bobby know, cause he's the man who will remind him.
He stinks.
Another call comes from the car. Distorted voice and no Wi-Fi. That's JJ. West crap ass phone just cut off all the calls.
He stinks.
Is that gas station pizza? Come on, Gary.
He stinks.
Chicken don't go with pasta. Just get out of here, Jake.
The guy is terrible. Enough.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the fuck out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.